From JetBlue Park in sunny Fort Myers, Florida, tonight the Boston Red Sox face the New York Yankees in spring training baseball, and it's a big evening for the Red Sox Foundation. We'll be joined by Foundation cornerstones throughout the broadcast, and David Price gets the start. Thanks for joining us tonight here. Beautiful evening for baseball. Dave O'Brien, my partner, the Hall of Famer in the Red Sox Hall of Fame, Jerry Remy and Remdog. David Price on the mound in a Red Sox uniform has a real nice ring to it.
Oh, it certainly does, Dave. You know, we knew a year ago what the Red Sox needed, and that was a number one guy. And they certainly went out and they got a guy that is accustomed to be a number one guy. You know, he's a guy that is not afraid to go out there and take the challenge of being the leader of a pitching staff. He has fit in like a glove here since the first day. I mean, he's such a likable guy. He has been great with the media. He's been great with everybody, great with his teammates, and he's a guy that is accustomed to being in these positions. So it's nothing new to him to come into a ball game trying to stop a losing streak or keep a streak alive. They've got a guy like that in David Price.
All right, so Price on the bump, and we'll also be joined by the great Tim Wakefield to be inside the booth all night long on a great night for a ball game. We've got the lineups and the first pitch. It's the Red Sox taking on the New York Yankees coming up next. Yankees and the Red Sox here from JetBlue Park on a great night. Temperatures all day in the 80s, so it was a bit of a scorcher. I think Tim Wakefield can vouch for that because he's been on the field most of the day. Wake will be joining us in just a moment. Great to have you with us as David Price is ready for his first pitch of the night. The 6'5" left-hander facing Aaron Hicks, and that's a little high for ball one. Price 18-5 last year with a .245 earned run average between the Tigers and the Toronto Blue Jays. And pounds in a fastball for a strike.
Second appearance of the spring for him, OB, and the first one's a little bit shaky, but that's to be expected. It was his first outing of the spring, and a little bit more comfortable, I'd have to say, tonight in this second outing.
I pop up into shallow left field, and Murphy is there. And we'll put that one away for out number one as we say good evening to Tim Wakefield. And Wake, great to have you in the booth with us all night long tonight, and a great night for the Red Sox Foundation. Eventually we'll get your mic on. As good as Wake is, even he needs a microphone to be heard here. So hopefully we'll get that going.
We'll work on that.
One down for Alex Rodriguez, who's in the lineup tonight, batting out of the 2 spot as the DH. So hitting up high in the order to get some at-bats here tonight in a spring training contest, and he trickles a foul for strike one.
Well, what he's going to do, probably get 2 or 3 at-bats and take that limousine back up to Tampa to get out of here quickly tonight.
He's hitting .308 with a home run this spring. And Mark Teixeira has also made the trip for the Yankees. So at least they brought a couple of regulars with them. And he bounds that one foul.
You know, Dave, we were talking in the open about David Price, and you know, the one thing that's impressive about him, he spent an awful lot of time in the American League East, so he knows this division very, very well. He knows the Yankees well. He knows everybody very well. So that's certainly on a plus on his side and from on the side of the Red Sox.
Trying to strike out A-Rod right out of the gate here tonight. And on the inside corner for called strike 3. Does exactly that. And fans the Yankee DH, and they're 2 down.
It's almost like Rodriguez was looking for something else to set a straight fastball, and that's exactly what he gets. Price ahead of him, and it looked like A-Rod was looking for some kind of cut fastball or a breaking ball because he was backing away from that pitch on the inside corner.
So 2 up and 2 down. Mark Teixeira at first base. Hit .255 with 31 homers last season before a shin injury in August. And he takes a strike. And can we finally say good evening to Tim Wakefield?
I don't know. Yes, we can. Thank you.
How you doing, Wake?
I'm good, Rem. How are you?
Great
good.
to have you with us tonight.
That's
all
good
night
to be
long.
Here.
Yeah. Tremendous night for the Red Sox Foundation, which is such a big part of your life and was such a big part of your career.
It was, you know, and I'm honored to be the honorary chairman of the Red Sox Foundation when I retired in 2011, actually 2012, and to still remain in the Boston area. That they gave so much to me, and for me to be able to give back to the families of New England is really a blessing.
The 0-2 to Teixeira. He cuts and misses, and a quick start for the Red Sox ace against the New York Yankees. That also has a nice sound to it. 1, 2, 3 they go. Sox coming up. More with Wake when we come back.
Tonight.
That's a great shot here in Florida tonight as we go to the middle of the first inning, and the Red Sox about to bat for the first time against Ivan Nova, the right-hander, who went 6-11 last year, an ERA of 5.07. Rusney Castillo will lead things off. Then it's Pedroia, Ortiz, and Bogarts. Hanley Ramirez, followed by Pablo Sandoval, David Murphy, Chris Young, and then Ryan Hannigan. And the first one in there for a strike. Right-hander out of the Dominican Republic, 6'4", about 225 pounds. And he struggled last season, the year after Tommy John surgery. Lost his place in the Yankee rotation near the end. That's going to trickle through for a base hit. So Rusney, who is hitting .333 for the spring, is quickly aboard.
He's certainly made some better contact recently for the Red Sox, and that better contact has resulted in base hits. Had a couple the last time he played, and now starts this game off with the ground ball up the middle. There you see the numbers for Nova last season. 17 starts, 6-11, and as Dave mentioned, coming off Tommy John surgery last season.
So here's Pedroia, so far 4 for 16 for the spring, and Petey takes a called strike. And Wake, you've been in camp. You've been doing some instructing down in the heat, baking away here. But generally, what do you feel about the way camp has gone and the attitude of this ball club?
I love the attitude of this ball club. You know, obviously with the addition of Price, he's kind of taken over the leadership role of that pitching staff. But it's really hard to evaluate this early in spring. You know, you're going to start to see some adjustments. I was talking about that with Adam Pellerin in the pregame show about you're going to start to see the pitchers, instead of establishing their fastball command, you're going to start seeing them mix in breaking balls. And the big key is to keep them healthy throughout the course of the spring and build their innings up as much as possible when they break here in camp, that the starters are going more than 5 or 6 innings.
Now, one thing after we just saw David Price zip through that first inning with that big fastball, you know, touching 95, 96. That's what an ace is supposed to look and sound like, right?
Yeah, he's definitely a bona fide ace, and very thankful that he decided to sign with the Red Sox. And he's proven it so far this whole spring. He's really. I was here early in the spring when they were throwing live batting practice. I was able to stand behind the batting cage and watch him actually throw for the first time up close, and I was very impressed with the way he was commanding both sides of the plate.
David Ortiz on deck. We'll be visiting with Red Sox Foundation cornerstones throughout the evening. Laura Hartman was a veteran of the Iraq War. Will be one of our very first guests at the end of this half inning. And she has a marvelous story to tell. Fouled at the plate by Petey.
That's what makes Pedroia such a tough hitter, the fact that he can foul off some of those very difficult pitches. I mean, that's a good breaking ball from Nova. That's a questionable ball, a strike, but Pedroia has the ability to reach out, foul this off, and give himself another chance. Not a bad pitch right there, Wake.
That was a great pitch, you know, and that's one thing you hate about guys like Pedroia, that you really don't know where to go to on an out pitch, and he's gonna battle every at bat. He's not going to give in for sure.
1-2 at the runner holding, and ripped into left center field for a base hit.
And that's what happens.
Castillo's going to take third, throw, and come into second base. So some very alert base running there by Rusney Castillo.
Yeah, that's very heads up by Castillo. You know, it almost looked like the Yankees were totally expecting Castillo to stop at second base. There you see the base hit up over the head of the shortstop, Cosmo. And the center field very tentative. He just throws the ball into third base. Once Castillo sees that, he takes off for third. So that's heads-up base running by Castillo.
Yeah, and they teach that here in spring training. Brian Butterfield's one of the best base running coaches, and they want to take advantage of taking an extra base, and being aggressive is going to do that. It's going to take a perfect throw, especially when Rusney had hit second base. The glove was not in the center fielder's, or the ball was not in the center fielder's glove at that point, and he's able to take an extra base.
Another shift on for David Ortiz, but the second baseman Ackley has to stay on the infield dirt, looking for a double play possibility.
Absolutely.
So Ortiz with an opportunity to drive one into the outfield. Red Sox trying to take a quick lead here against the New York Yankees. They went 8-11 against the Yankees last year. And actually, the one division opponent the Red Sox finished with a winning record against was Toronto. Red Sox went 10-9 against the Blue Jays, won the division, so go figure. On the corners with nobody out. Punch to that right side. Ackley. That's one. That's two. But the run comes in to score as Castillo, thanks to that fine base running, will cross home plate. The Red Sox lead it 1-0.
Well, that's being aggressive pays off right there, because you instead of looking at a situation where you got a man at third base and 2 outs, that run is able to score because Castillo was aggressive. You notice a change in the Red Sox lineup right now, where you have Bogart sitting fourth and Ortiz third, and it's something John Farrell wants to do, because he wants to break up all those right-handers at the top of the lineup, get Ortiz in at bat in the first inning to break up the lefties.
And that sends up Xander Bogaerts. 235 so far for the spring, but has that Silver Slugger award from 2015 as the American League's top offensive shortstop after hitting .320 with 81 RBIs. David Ortiz has 6 of those, by the way. There's a DH and foul tipped into the mitt.
And I think that's a good call, having Bogaerts hit fourth. I think based on his personality, I think he can handle that situation of hitting fourth. You just don't ask anybody to hit behind David Ortiz. I think because he's won a Silver Slugger, he's proved himself to be able to hit in pressure situations. That's why John Farrell likes him in the 4-hole.
I agree, and you look at his numbers and say, well, he's only had 7 home runs, but he's the kind of guy with men in scoring position. He's going to put the bat on the ball and can move it to the opposite field and drive those runs in.
Yeah, not only that, it allows the guy hitting behind him, Hanley Ramirez, to get more pitches to see as well.
Well, he strikes out to retire the side, but the Red Sox grab the first run of the ball game on the double play ground out by David Ortiz. So it's a 1-0 Red Sox lead. The Red Sox Foundation making dreams come true. Those who make a pledge of $450 or more will receive 2 outfield tickets to the Friday, April 29 game against the Yankees, an invitation to the pregame reception, also 2 black T-shirts similar to T-shirts exclusively worn by Red Sox players and coaches, 2 autographed commemorative Tim Wakefield OYO mini figurines. The likeness of Wake is absolutely staggering.
Yeah.
RedSox.com. That's where you want to log on right now. RedSox.com/RSF Pledge. We take a look at a Red Sox Foundation Cornerstone program.
The Red Sox Foundation MGA.
Hartman, who served for the United States Army and twice was deployed in 2004 and 2005. Thank you so much for your service.
Yes, thank you for your service.
On behalf on all of us, and you've become involved in the Warrior Health and Fitness program. Tell us a little bit about home base and what it means to you.
Home base means a lot to me. This program, it comes with, there's 2 different branches of it, and it comes with a yoga coach, a sleep coach, a nutritionist, and it truly gives a veteran the foundation of life so they can thrive. So for whatever reason the readjustment problem came about, that we can continue to thrive.
Well, you went through an awful lot. The invisible wounds of war that so many veterans return from conflict with and then have to deal with in their everyday lives. Without getting too involved in everything that you went through, because you went through an awful lot, this program, literally helped save your life, did it not?
It absolutely. I was just talking to Tim down on the field, actually, and I was expressing complete gratitude. This program gave me the foundation to look within, to follow my own order, so to speak, to find my own inner strength, to have the confidence and the courage to do what's next. And what's next is to take care of myself so I can take care of my friends and families about me.
The good thing about this health and fitness program, which is in addition to home-based program, was to be able to get these veterans like Laura to really know that they're not alone. There's other people. It's one thing you come back and you're part of a group over there in Iraq or Afghanistan, and you're fighting as a team, and you get home and you're by yourself. You don't know how to deal with this stuff, and to be able to have you come in and get your fitness done, and not only but give you the tools was really important to the home-based program to kind of start this program, but also to have, like, she may not have known that one of her combat veterans or one of her mates or friends live in the same town. So now you don't only get the tools to help yourself, but you realize that you're not alone.
And you feel the same way?
Absolutely. It's the camaraderie that there are people everywhere, and you're never alone.
All right, we're talking a little bit about the Red Sox Foundation and its involvement in home base and a partnership with Mass General Hospital. This goes back really to 9/11 and post 9/11. Veterans suffering from the invisible wounds of war, such as traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress, spearheaded by Tom Werner, the chairman of the Red Sox, and, of course, the Red Sox Foundation. And the total amount raised by the Red Sox Foundation for home base is almost $18 million, $17.9 million. That's remarkable.
That is remarkable, and that helped fund the intensive care program that we have up in Boston. I was working out in the gym, and my trainers realized some more of my wounds were coming visible than invisible wounds were, and so they suggested that I go to Boston for the intensive 2-week program, and that transformed my life, and it involved my family and reconnected me with my family.
Dustin Ackley with a base hit up the middle here against David Price, working into his second inning as we chat with Laura Hartman. It's great to have you. Given everything that you have gone through, when you see the success your life has become, it's really marvelous with this connection.
Yes, it's the platform to thrive, and like where I'm at now, and the ability to change careers, and the confidence to work out and to find other veterans and to continually to spread the word that we're not alone with this invisible wound. It's the foundation to help us thrive.
Good for you, because we have to take care of our veterans. If we are a great society, that's what we do. We take care of our veterans.
I totally agree. I mean, they laid their life on the line for us to live in a free country, and it's our duty and our privilege to make sure when they come home that they're well taken care of.
And we should mention, you talk about working out, this year's walk run is on July 23rd. And certainly many people have become involved in that. It's been a tremendous success over the last couple of years.
I'm looking forward to attending that, yes.
Total number of runners between 2010 and 2015, over 13,000. They're in way better shape than me, and so are you. Yeah. Laura, you're the best. Thanks so much for joining us. Again, God bless you. Thanks so much for your service.
Thank you
so much.
Great
to know you're doing so well.
Thank you, Laura.
Laura Hartman joining us right here in the booth, and we have many more guests, but, I mean, this is a marvelous story, and someone who has persevered through so very much to get back to great health again. She looks marvelous. So.
She does.
Yeah. Yankees with a base runner. Red Sox on top here 1-0. And Romine, the batter, he's doing the catching tonight for the Yankees, who went 87-75 last year. They finished in second place in the American League East. Big swing and a miss by the right-hand hitting catcher. Yankees earned the wild card against the Houston Astros, and they would lose that wild card game at Yankee Stadium, so it was a quick exit. They were barely in the playoffs. That's how they feel.
Yeah, absolutely. You go through a season, and next thing you know, you're out of it that quickly. It's a little disheartening.
In there for strike three as he pinned it over the inside corner. That's 3 strikeouts already for Price.
Well, the location so far for Price has been tremendous. He's made one mistake, and that was taken for a base hit. But right here, he takes that fastball again. He wants to go inside corner. Kind of tails a little bit back toward the middle, but he's basically getting that fastball where he wants to tonight, where he had a little struggle with it in his first outing, which is not unusual.
Yeah, and even in his first outing, Jerry, I thought he made the one homer he gave up was a great pitch. It was just, I think the hitter was looking for it. I forgot who it was. I think it was Kurt Suzuki. Tried to throw him a cutter inside, and the wind was blowing out so hard, he ended up hitting a pop-up and got out of here. But like I said before, watching him command both sides of the plate during BP early in spring training, watching him throw his live BPs, I was really impressed.
Won the Cy Young in 2012. He went 20-5 that year. Last year, pitching for both the Tigers and Toronto, he went 18-5, but he made 32 starts, and those clubs won 24 of those games that he started.
That's a great stat to have behind you, that every time you take them out, your team's going to win more than 75% of the time.
Yes, in for a called strike.
That's a great feeling for a teammate to know that every time a guy takes the mound, you have an excellent chance of winning that ball game. And you know, he keeps streaks going, and he can end bad streaks, and that's so critical to have on any club.
As Pete Cosmi's at shortstop, he's the former St. Louis Cardinal. You may remember he made a key error in Game 1 of the 2013 World Series at Fenway Park. First inning of that game, he dropped a throw on a forced play at second base. Dustin Pedroia was the runner. He was originally forced out, but the umpire eventually got together with the other guys and overruled that call, and Petey was ruled safe, and that was a bases loaded 1 out instead of 2 out. Runners on the corners made all the difference. Red Sox scored early and would win that game.
Yeah, and I like the way baseball is handling this replay system. It's really made a huge difference on plays like that. It can, you know, and the umpires want to get it right as well, and having the ability to go back and look at video and make sure the call was correct, I think it makes the game a little bit fairer on both sides, more fair on both sides.
And that's all you really want as
Absolutely.
a manager, a coach, a player. You just want them to get it right. And if it takes replay to get it right, so be it.
When you guys were playing, would you have an umpire who knew he blew a call, admitted to you occasionally on the field?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. All the time.
All the time.
Yeah, I mean, every if they blew a call, they almost every single time they would admit that they did it.
Yeah.
Well, it depends, Wake, if they liked you or not.
True.
That's true.
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
If they didn't like you, they would not ever say,
no,
I blew that.
Who wouldn't like you guys? I mean, come on.
I can name about 5.
I think if you had more of a veteran status, you know, if you'd been around the game for 5 or 6 or 10 years or whatever, I think they were courteous enough to give you the, hey man, sorry I blew that one. I'll make it up to you your next at bat, or I'll take a closer look at the next time you throw that one on that corner.
Price looking for his 4th strikeout here. Inside on Cosma. The umpires here tonight: Marvin Hudson, Tim Timmons, Sam Holbrook, John Tumpain. So that is a veteran crew for the Red Sox and the Yankees. Yankees scuffling so far this spring with a 3-8 overall record. Check swing, but did he go? He did. Tim Timmons rings him up, and that's another K in the book. And 4 of them for David Price in the first 2 innings. Yankees going down pretty quickly there. 1-0, the Red Sox. Red Sox on top 1-0 over the Yankees, facing Ivan Nova, the right-hander. And here's Hanley Ramirez taking up an in-ball 1. It'll be followed by Pablo Sandoval and then David Murphy tonight. 5, 6, and 7 in the batting order. Mookie Betts has the night off. So does Jackie Bradley Jr. Sox so far 5-8 on the spring. Nova trying to work his way into the Yankee rotation, which is pretty crowded. It's a rotation with CC Sabathia, Masahiro Tanaka, Luis Severino, Nathan Eovaldi, and Michael Pineda. So really 6 guys for 5 spots.
Yeah, and I think this guy is a very important part of their rotation if he can make the team and stay healthy. You know, obviously he's coming off of Tommy John surgery, but he was a big addition or a big plus for their rotation 2 years ago.
Now, I think the Yankees get a chance to be a pretty good team if they can stay healthy. You look at that bullpen that they got right now. I mean, it is shut down. It is no contact at the end of the game against the New York Yankees. And if they get any kind of starting pitching at all, get to the 6th inning, they are very strong from that point on.
Adding a Aroldis Chapman, he only throws 103 miles an hour to join Dellin Betances and Andrew Miller. Of course, Chapman will be suspended for 30 games at the top of the season for that alleged domestic violence situation. We've also added Starley Castro from the Cubs to play in the infield. But a lot of familiar faces. We're seeing some of them tonight. A check, but did he offer? Yes, he did, and that is strike 3 on Hanley. Came in hitting .333 for the spring. Well, introducing Nesson Fuel. It's a car enthusiast's new home for everything automotive, including exclusive driver interviews, race recaps, and much more. Visit NessonFuel.com and follow Nesson Fuel on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram today. Wake, are you big on Twitter?
Not really. I'll tweet stuff out once in a while, but I use it more of an information tool. Like yesterday I left the game and didn't know why Brian Johnson had got taken out of the game, so I checked on Twitter and found out that he left with a sprained big toe. So I like it, but social media is a little scary nowadays. Unfortunately, you hear a lot of bad stories about people ruining their lives because of social media, so I'm very, very cautious at how I use it.
Jerry has 500 million followers.
Wow.
On Twitter. 500 million.
Yeah,
I'm one of them. I follow him.
Yeah.
He doesn't tweet anything. Hardly ever.
Once in a while. I'm becoming a tweeting fool. It's amazing. I've come up with more stuff recently than I had in the past, but it is addicting. That's the problem. I mean, you got to really be careful about what you how often you're on it, what you say on it.
Pablo Sandoval chops that one to third. Ref Snyder will pick that. 4 up. 2 up and 2 down. I just don't think there's a soul on earth who cares whether I had oatmeal or eggs for breakfast.
Yeah. See, I refuse to tell people what I was doing during the course of a day.
Yeah.
I would thank an organization for having me out, whether it was, a camp that I did or a talk that I gave. It's a way to thank people and get it out there or try to promote their business. Yes.
That makes perfect sense to me. And there's a lot of goodwill in a gesture like that.
Absolutely.
And you guys played, and you guys have a lot of people who do want to know what you're up to, and you check in with other folks. But I mean, I don't even want to know what I had for breakfast.
Some people take it a little bit too far.
You're right about that. Like most things. Here's David Murphy, 3:08 for the spring. That floater off the end of the bat. Heathcott coming in. It's a fast inning. The Red Sox go 1-2-3. Still 1-0. The Sox in front of the Yankees here at JetBlue Park. And the Red Sox Foundation is making dreams come true. Those making a pledge of $125 receive 2 outfield tickets to one of the games listed. Also included 1 black T-shirt, similar to the shirts exclusively worn by Red Sox players and coaches. An autographed commemorative Tim Wakefield OYO mini figurine. And log on to RedSox.com/RSF pledge right now to make your donation as we take a look at a Red Sox Foundation Cornerstone program.
Throughout New England, there are so many students who take the time out of their busy school schedules to serve their own communities, whether it be at a local hospital or a homeless shelter or any other number of wonderful programs in their own towns. We created the Red Sox Foundation Service Scholarships to support high school seniors and thank them for their community service. Through 2016, the Red Sox Foundation will provide 500 service scholarships to New England high school seniors. It's so inspiring to think of the thousands of people who've been helped by these young leaders.
Very happy to be joined by Katie Haas, Vice President of Florida Business Operations for the New England Red Sox Service Scholarship Program for the New England states. The foundation providing Red Sox service scholarships to nearly 145 high school seniors with scholarships of $1,000 based on the students' demonstrated commitment to community service. Katie, great to have you with us.
Thank you, Dave. Nice to be here.
Got to ask you about this program and just how big this commitment is pretty staggering by the foundation.
Definitely, it's huge. It was started in 2009 by Mrs. Henry, and we only gave out 10 scholarships just in New Hampshire that 1 year alone. This year, fast forward to 2016, we're going to give out $145,000 scholarships to deserving seniors all over New England. So.
We see them on the field at Fenway Park, all through the summer. And the smiles on the faces of the kids and the families, I mean, it's got to make it worth it.
It's incredible. I mean, the cost of college these days, every little bit helps. And to be able to make a commitment like that, and the Red Sox Foundation couldn't do it without the support of the Ford Motor Company Fund as well, who's the main sponsor of the program. But it's just a really great way that, once again, the Red Sox Foundation is branching out and able to give back in the community.
How many schools participate in this program?
You caught me off
I'm sorry.
there. The goal is eventually to attempt to get all public high schools in New England involved in the program.
That's awesome.
And in the same vein, we've tried down here in Lee County. We're following in the footsteps of the Red Sox Foundation in Boston. We started our own golf tournament here locally that takes place in October called Swings for the Sox. And that money now is going to support our own Lee County scholarship program where we are able to give out $5,000 scholarships to all 13 public high schools in Lee County.
Awesome.
So this is a program that is really broadening. I mean, when you're talking about Lee County and adding on, and that's where the funding comes from, specifically from that tournament?
Yes, our golf tournament proceeds, we've already, in just 4 years of my staff's effort down here, a group of 4 of us, we've already raised over $100,000 in just 4 years. So that money is really going to go to so many that are in need here in Lee County.
You were talking about the scholarships, and it's just not Massachusetts. It's all over New England, right?
Correct. It's actually the states outside of Massachusetts are the target with the New England Service Scholarships of $1,000. And here we're just targeting the public high schools of Lee County.
One of the mottos is for the New England Red Sox Service Scholarship, community service builds character for life.
Absolutely. And I totally believe that in seeing some of these kids' applications that we've chosen for our scholarship program here. It's just incredible. You know, there's kids that have gone to Guatemala for 3 weeks in their summer vacation to build homes, and kids who work down at the soup kitchen every day, every Saturday.
Wonderful to hear. And I mean, obviously those are kids that you want to make sure you take care of. You can't take care of everybody, but taking care of a lot of families. The cost of college today, Jerry and I are going to vouch for this. Wake's going to know this soon enough.
Oh, I already know.
I mean, it's just staggering.
My kids aren't in college yet, but I'm already trying to save
You're
money
saving now.
for now. Yeah, I mean, the cost is just rising and rising. But the most important thing about these scholarships is, like Katie attested to earlier, it's about community service, you know. And I don't think we teach our young people more about community service and trying to make, you know, the Red Sox Foundation and what Katie's doing is changing the lives of these young kids, but to have the young kids realize that they can change the life of somebody else, and it's almost like you pay it forward.
Absolutely.
Katie, thanks so much for being with us. You continue to do great work.
Thank you for having me.
Both all through New England and right here in Lee County now as well.
Thank you. We hope you guys enjoy your time here in Fort Myers for the next few weeks.
We're going to try. We're going to muscle through the weather, you know, and hope it improves a little bit. Down into the corner and a foul ball. Katie, thanks so much for being with us. It is Katie Haas, Vice President of Florida Business Operations for the New England Red Sox Service Scholarship Program. Marvelous work. And David Price is, too, by the way. He has 5 strikeouts here in the first 2 and a third innings.
And again, you know, that control has been outstanding for David Price early in this ball game. That last strikeout he had against D'Onofrio was a fastball on the outside part of the plate. Picked up the outside corner.
Slade Heathcott, center fielder. Left-hand hitter. He's a very talented linebacker in high school in Texas. He fouls that one off of Hannigan.
This combination know each other pretty well. Price and Hannigan both down at Tampa Bay at the same time.
And Hannigan caught him in 2014 when they were Tampa Bay Rays together. Tall left-hander out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And on to Vanderbilt University. On the topic of colleges, not exactly a charm school. I mean, some of us had no shot at Vandy. I mean, they wouldn't let us on campus.
No.
I'm not speaking for you, because I know what a bright guy you are, but forget about it over here. No
bright
chance.
Guy?
Forget about it here, too.
I majored in eligibility in school.
Aaron Hicks on deck. Red Sox out in front here 1-0. Tim Wakefield joining us in the booth. Red Sox looking to knock off the Yankees tonight in front of a packed house. Line shot, Pedroia there to make the catch. Looking up into the sun. That was a broken bat liner for out number 2.
Well, of course, starting this game at 6 o'clock tonight, the sun still is in play and almost lost it with Dustin Pedroia right there. You can see it with the line drive go up, a soft line drive, and he has to turn his head away as that ball apparently was lost by Dustin, but fortunately he had the glove up in the right spot. So you're getting shadows now that you don't usually get in a night game because of the 6 o'clock start. Beautiful shot right there, isn't it?
Gorgeous. And with the time change this past Saturday, now normally this would be a little bit darker, but because of daylight savings time, you're getting more shadows this time of the night.
Aaron Hicks 0 for 1. He is flat out to left. Switch hitter, former starting center fielder for the Minnesota Twins. He gave up switch hitting a couple of years ago until the Hall of Famer Rod Carew called him and said, don't do that. You're diminishing your value. And I think if Rod Carew calls you and says, continue to switch hit, guess what you do?
I would listen to a Hall of Famer, and he's probably right. I mean, you're diminishing your value. If you can hit from both sides of the plate, regardless of how good or bad you are on one side, continue to do it because you're still a threat at the plate to get knocks.
High fly, well hit, deep right center, headed toward the bullpen. Castillo racing back to the triangle, and that ball is going to get out of here. A home run for Aaron Hicks, hitting right-handed. And that will tie the ball game at 1 apiece. That one just kept carrying and carrying, Jerry, to the deepest part of JetBlue.
Yeah, and it gives you an idea how strong Hicks is, too, because that pitch is actually down in the zone. Slight uppercut swing, and he takes it to the Red Sox bullpen. It's one of those nights, and it has been rare here, that the wind is blowing out. Usually it's been blowing across from left field to right field, but tonight it's been blowing directly out. So that got a little bit of a push, but also good power from Hicks.
So tied at 1, and here's Alex Rodriguez, who struck out in the first inning. A-Rod, 40 years old, most expected kind of a washed-up version of A-Rod last year after that year-long suspension following the steroids investigation, but he belted 33 home runs.
He did. I mean, regardless of the year out, he's still a tremendous athlete, and he's still a tremendous baseball player. No matter what his age is, you still have to respect the amount of power that he has every time he steps to the plate.
The Red Sox pinch him on the left side of the infield. They have Bogaerts and Sandoval very close together. They give him up the middle. They expect that if he pulls the ball on the ground, it's going to go in that direction.
Mark Teixeira on deck. High bounding ball foul. Before we get too far into the broadcast, Tim Wakefield, congratulations on your upcoming induction into the Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame this summer. So well deserved. We're so proud of you.
I greatly appreciate that. It is truly an honor to be acknowledged as one of the great Red Sox players, but more importantly is to be able to have your name mentioned with some of the best, the Jim Rices, the Dwight Evans, the Yaz's, the Ted Williams. I mean, I was lucky, very lucky, to be able to play here for such a long period of time. And the other cool thing about it is I'm going in with Tech. I mean, Tech and I played together for 15 years, and it was when I found out that Tech was getting inducted at the same time, I was really excited.
It's so fitting. I'm actually fortunate enough to be on the nominating committee, and that was the discussion, was these guys belong together in the Red Sox Hall of Fame. It fits like a glove.
Yeah, it truly is an honor. I mean, you play together with somebody. We spent more time together than we did with our families, and that's just the way baseball is. But it really is an honor to be going in with him, as well as Larry Lucchino. Larry Lucchino is a key part of where the Red Sox are now. I mean, when they first took over this organization, then the whole Tom Werner and John Henry, they really turned this franchise around with stadium upgrades and just the way the team looked. And
yep.
I really believe that Larry's a big reason why all that happened.
And the 3 rings. Big reason for those 3 rings.
Yes, that too.
No question about it, which you were as well. Getting that rocking and rolling. That amazing 2004 season. And of course, against these Yankees, that's in there for strike 3. So 2 more Ks in the inning. Price has 6 strikeouts. He gives up a home run to Aaron Hicks. Here in the middle of the 3rd inning, we are tied up at 1-1. Bottom of the third inning. Red Sox coming up here in a 1-1 tie with the New York Yankees. It'll be Young, Hannigan, and Castillo. Young getting his first look against a former teammate here.
Taking a peek down at third base. He had the third baseman Refsnyder back deep and was thinking about dropping one down. And I think what threw him off on that was the timing. His timing on a bunt is usually off a fastball. That time it was a breaking ball, and he had to take it.
Young hit .252, 14 home runs for the Yankees last year. He's also played for the Diamondbacks, the A's, the Mets, breaking into the majors in 2006. He says in high school he fully intended to become a doctor one day, but when he got drafted, that ended that talk. Funny how that happens.
Funny how that happens.
And do you think the Yankees have a scouting report on him from last year? They got the shift on the left side of the infield.
Yes. 3 men to the left of second base, playing him to pull the 2-1 right through it.
I think this is a great sign for the Boston Red Sox to shore up a fourth outfield position. I think he can play both right and left field as well as center. You see those young guys get out there and play, but you can't overwork them either.
Down he goes swinging. Third strikeout for Ivan Nova here. One man gone in front of Ryan Hannigan. Red Sox spring training baseball is live with the MLB.com at bat app. Stay connected all spring with radio broadcasts, highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat. Here's Ryan Hannigan, .247 with a pair of home runs last season as a backup. Blake Swihart took a foul tip off the chin. That one is ripped into left, but Hicks is back there to make the catch on the edge of the warning track. 2 up and 2 down.
That's good solid contact right there by Hannigan. And, you know, in spring training, obviously you want base hits, but you also want good at-bats. And that was a very good at-bat for Hannigan. Didn't see many pitches in that at-bat, but certainly made good solid contact on that line drive to left field. So you'll take that one in spring training.
That's the difference between a veteran and a guy that's trying to make the team. A veteran can say, hey, even though I made it out, I made good solid contact, my timing's getting back, but you got a young guy that's trying to make a team. He wants that ball to fall in.
Yes.
He wants that high batting average before they break camp.
Yeah, a guy like Travis Shaw wants the hits, right?
Absolutely.
And he's getting them too. Shaw's hitting .522 so far for the spring. He's 11 for 20 with a couple of home runs.
And he's been playing a great third base. I think it's a great place for him to try to make that team as a utility corner infielder. Him and Brock Holt, obviously, I love the combination. He's got great power from the left side. It could be a dangerous asset to have in that lineup.
That's one of the things you hear from Red Sox in this camp routinely, commenting on the depth. You know, it's a deeper team than it was a year ago, and I think Shaw is a big reason why.
I totally agree, and you know, in my opinion, he's made the team. The question to me is how much he's going to get to play, and I think it's going to be quite a bit. I really do.
Rusney Castillo 1 for 1 with a base hit. He'll take ball 4. So he is on for the second time with Pedroia coming up next.
See, here's one of the problems you have with the Red Sox lineup. Now, Castillo in this situation with a couple of outs, you would think would want to run and try to get in a scoring position. But the fact is, when you have Pedroia behind you, a lot of times they will not send it. I would send him because if he's thrown out, you got Dustin leading off in front of Ortiz next inning. So I would take a chance right here of sending him and try to get him in the scoring position for Pedroia.
Let's see if he's running. Again, 2 down, tied up 1-1. Jerry Remy, Red Sox Hall of Famer. Tim Wakefield, Red Sox Hall of Famer. I'm not sure what I'm doing here.
A little baseball game.
I can buy a ticket. That's what I can do for the Red Sox Hall of Fame. Now they have the same thought, Jerry. Castillo back in. And he might be off to the races here. Each side with 2 hits. He's holding, and it's up top for a ball.
You see Dustin taking all the way there, too. I think, you know, when you're in this situation as a hitter, if you think he's going to go or he's got the green light, you'd like to give him a strike. You know, give him at least 1 strike to get there. You don't want to obviously wait till 2 strikes because then you're limited as a hitter. But if you can give him 1 strike to try to steal it, that would be helpful.
Staying put again, and that's a strike.
Now it's off. I mean, if he wants to go, he goes. But Dustin, if he sees a strike, he's got to swing.
And it gives Castillo to get the timing of Nova as well. You know, you don't want to. He throws first pitch strike. It kind of makes it a little bit more difficult. But thankfully, he threw ball one. And the thing I like about here is they do have a shift over here, and Petey does like to go the other way.
Well, there he goes. Big swing and a miss. The throw down, the tag, and he's safe. Now you had it right, Rem Dog, and he's down in the scoring position.
I love that. You know, I mean, that's really the way to play the game because, as I said, if he does get thrown out, you've got Pedroia hitting in front of David next inning. Right there, you take the chance, you send him a high throw at second base. He's going to be in there. A little bit of a dangerous thing, though, looking back for Castillo. That's a straight-out steal. One habit you don't want to get into is looking back because that can slow you up. Only look back on a hit and run.
The 1-2. All even on Pedroia. Dustin, the father of 3 sons, Dylan, Cole, and Brooks. Dustin says a couple of the boys are a lot like their mom. They're a lot like Kelly. They talk a lot of trash. He says he does not, but Kelly does. She's uber competitive as he yanks that one foul. He says Kelly really has the serious talking game of anybody in the family.
That's hard to believe.
Hard to tell. I know.
That's hard to believe.
It'd be a family of athletes. Castillo at second. In there for strike 3. They picked up the outside corner. So Nova gets out of it. He strikes out 2 in the inning. So at the end of 3, we are still tied. Red Sox 1 and the Yankees 1. The Red Sox Foundation is making dreams come true. Those who make a pledge of $50 right now receive 1 black tri-blend t-shirt similar to those exclusively worn by Red Sox players and coaches. Log on right now to redsox.com/RSF pledge as we take a look now at a Red Sox Foundation Cornerstone program.
The Red Sox Foundation's RBI baseball program pushed me to be a better baseball player in person. My coach told me to always keep my head up, even if things weren't going well. RBI helped me reach my goal to graduate high school and play in college. Each year, the Red Sox Foundation takes 700 inner-city kids and teaches them to love playing baseball. It kept me and my friends off the streets and out of trouble. That's what makes RBI a great program.
We're delighted to be joined by Hector Galarza, 45-year-old volunteer RBI coach from Mission Hill, the Pirates. He's been with the RBI program for over 20 years. Coaching, what is it now, Hector? 5 different teams, including baseball and softball, and somewhere in your free time, you enjoy chess every once in a while. We'll get your microphone hooked up here in just a second, but wonderful to have you here. Can you talk a little bit about what the RBI program has meant to you in your life?
It's given me a chance to work with kids a little more in regards. I work at Boston Community Center and was introduced to this program 20 years ago. And we had limited sports programs. This gave me an opportunity to coach and actually engage with other kids that are not playing the different other kind of sports that we were giving. And it's meant a lot to me. I've grown the program from 1 team to now 5 teams, 3 softball programs. From the ages of 9 all the way to 18 years of age, and also the boys, the men's team, which is 13, 15, 16, 18.
Man, you must love to coach.
Yes, I do. I do. It's a challenge, but it's rewarding.
You know, throughout my career as a major league player, everybody looks to us as role models. You know, we've been given that platform to try to be role models. But a guy like Hector right here, he is a true role model because every day he's out there battling with these kids, getting them off the streets, helping them survive in the inner city, and teaching them a sport that could really benefit them later on in life as far as an education. So, you know, these are the guys that are the real role models in life. So I thank you.
Thank you.
The Red Sox Foundation funds and operates several programs to make sure children have the opportunity to play baseball in the community. About 1,000 children are served through the rookie leagues annually. That's ages 5 through 12. Currently 6 leagues across Boston. So many kids, and you see them up close.
Yes.
And you see them coming from very difficult circumstances.
Yes, all kinds of circumstances. But it gives us a chance to kind of break barriers because we all come from different neighborhoods. And when we're all interacting, those barriers are knocked down. And it's amazing what we do with these kids. And they come from different situations, but eventually we ended up working with them, and they actually love the game after a while.
Nice work by Hanley Ramirez coming off the bag there on the throw by Sandoval for the tag and the out.
Yeah, that's all good to see because, you know, everything that Hanley does well early in camp's going to help him moving into the season. Now, this doesn't look like very much, but for Hanley it is. It's things that he has been working on daily at 8:30 every morning, and just to be able to make that play, tag, hold on to the baseball, that's a positive thing for Hanley.
Getting there for practice early and working. Guess who rings the bell there? Hector's bell.
Yeah, Hector.
He knows
absolutely.
exactly what you're talking about.
A lot of hours there.
A lot of hours. So what got you into baseball?
Well, I love the game. My mother loved Roberto Clemente. I grew up with as a fan as well. And the kids, we're a Latino community, so that's all. You have to make sure you love baseball.
Absolutely.
Roberto Clemente, not a bad one to get hooked on if you're talking about fundamentals and sheer talent and ability, but just a beautiful athlete to watch.
Yes. And he's always giving back to the community.
Yes.
That's another thing the Red Sox Foundation do. We do community service. We do life skills workshops all the way from the curriculum experience, which is some of the perks that we get from the Red Sox Foundation.
Indeed.
And the best thing, the number one thing is free 99.
Yes.
And the kids love that.
Yep. Clemente, in fact, gave his life. You know,
Yeah.
Yes.
trying to help others. Yeah.
Not only are you teaching these kids how to play a sport, you're teaching them character. I mean, sports was a big influence on my personality and my character in life, and I think it's great what you do to allow these kids to get away from their circumstances, whether it be at home or in school or the neighborhood, to be able to just forget about that for a while and play a sport and learn the fundamentals of life.
Yes. We do that a lot, and there's times we do things after baseball, and which is more the one-on-one, the visits to the house, and of course a lot of long hours after that as well.
Hector, we're delighted, and I know Jerry has a question here, but the RBI program has been a great success all over the country, really. Great to know it's been such a success in the Boston area as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, you know, that the kids that you've been able to really save over the years, I mean, that has to make you feel remarkable. I mean, the fact that, you know, you're involved in a program where you're keeping kids off the streets, you're giving them something to focus on. I mean, it's going to be an awfully nice feeling.
It is. There's no words for it. There's none at all. We affect our kids. We do the baseball, and we also do the softball, which is one of the only softball programs in the city.
Hector, thanks so much. You're the best.
Thank you.
Congratulations. We're in the fourth inning.
Thank you.
Still tied 1-1. David Price will see if he's finished up here at Fort Myers. Well, heading off the last half of the fourth inning, Yankees and Red Sox tied 1-1. Jerry Remy, Tim Wakefield, and Dave O'Brien with you here from JetBlue Park. And David Ortiz with a high chopper to first base. And the pitcher covering for the out. One man gone. Aerial coverage is provided by DirecTV. What a great night to be up there. And if you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Any chance, Wake, we get you up there?
I've been up there.
You have?
It's a great ride. Yeah, Terry, one of the pilots. I don't know if he's up there flying today, but I was through the Red Sox Foundation in Massachusetts Little League. I was able to take a ride in the Hood Blimp up in Massachusetts, and was able to actually go for a ride here in my hometown in Melbourne. Flew over the house and everything. It's really cool. Took my kids up. It's a pretty cool experience.
Flew over your own house.
I did. Took pictures of it and everything.
Xander Bogaerts tried to check, but that's in there for a strike anyway.
It's not as scary as you think it is.
Says you. I don't think I'm going up there.
No, I've been invited, and I pass.
I like the view from right where we are. Up the middle. Kozma mishandles that behind second base. So Bogaerts will be safe at first with one out.
You know, they're probably going to call that an error, but I think it should be a base hit, and I'll tell you why. You see how far the shortstop has to go right there, and I'm not sure if he plays that ball clean, he's going to get Bogaerts at first base. I mean, it's a ball he could have handled. There's no question about that, but I think even if he comes clean with it, it's going to be a base hit.
I agree with you, Jerry, but I don't think any official scorer in any stadium would give that a hit.
Well, let's see if they didn't here. Did they give it a hit here? They did.
I think they did.
They did. Good for him. Or her. Whoever's the official scorer. You're right. I think they should take a harder look at balls like that, regardless of whether he got to it or right. Mishandled the ball, that still should be a hit.
That's going to be a fair ball and knocked down by Refsnyder. Everybody's going to be safe.
Just like that one.
High chopper along the line by Hanley Ramirez, and the Red Sox have something going on here with one down in the fourth.
Yeah, big high bounce right there that's going to go off the glove of Refsnyder. Once that happens, there's not going to be a play anywhere, and that's another one. Even if he makes the catch, where's he going to get it out?
I don't think he can throw Hanley out from that far across the diamond.
No, and he's not going to get Bogaerts at second either.
Never.
Deflection actually caught a piece of John Tumpain, the third base umpire. So here's Pablo Sandoval. He's 0 for 1 with a grounder to third. He belted a home run here at JetBlue Park yesterday against the Pirates while hitting left-handed. Another chopper. Refsnyder goes to second, and down on the knees goes Ackley. No double play, and they're going to be safe at first and third.
Talking about sun problems, I'm sure Ackley could not see that ball when it was thrown by the third baseman. Wow.
You know, and he's actually lucky, too. He didn't get hurt on that coming across the bag, because you're right, Wake. He couldn't see that baseball, and all of a sudden he just kind of collapsed.
David Murphy 0 for 1. Hey, David Price is joining us with a headset. David, thanks so much for being on with us.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Great job here today. And how did you feel? I mean, the evidence is you were throwing the ball awfully well.
Can you hear me?
Now, apparently having some microphone issues there. Murphy 0 for 1. Fly to center field as runners at first and third.
They can't hear me.
I do.
You hear him?
Yep.
You can hear? There we go.
There we go. David, sorry about that. How'd you feel today?
I felt good. I felt better 5 days ago, but I executed better today, and that's the name of the game for pitchers. It doesn't matter how hard you're throwing or how good your stuff is. If you can't hit spots at this level, it's going to get hit, and it's going to get hit hard. And I did a better job of that today than I did 5 days ago.
Now, David, you've slid into this situation with the Red Sox. Everybody knows you're a leader on a ball club. You're a leader in the pitching staff, and as we've been talking about that. You just take that with ease. I mean, that's just part of what you are, what you've done. So you're not surprised by any of this.
It's not something I think about. it's something I feel like definitely I grew into that role, you know, as a little kid, and then, you know, got a lot better at that, you know, my 3 years at Vanderbilt, and then just working on it every year. You know, I know what it can do for a team every day to have, you know, somebody come in with a positive outlook on everything and just, you know, making sure everybody's having fun. And that's the name of the game. You know, this is a dream for all of us to be out here at this level to play baseball, and you got to have fun with it.
David, it's Wake. Did anybody on the Tampa Bay Rays have an influence on you to be that leader of that pitching staff?
You know, watching James Shields, you know, watching how he went about his work, you know, and just the story behind him, you know, going to, I think, 6 extended spring trainings and, you know, winning AA Pitcher of the Year, and the next year they have him back in extended spring because they don't have a spot for him in AA. And, you know, guys tell me he'd never make it to the big leagues, and just how he evolved and how he developed himself and how he worked and prepared for, you know, every day for that 5th day. You know, just watching how he went about his business, you know, taught me a lot.
David, it's great to have you on this side in a Red Sox uniform. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, David Price, the ace of the Red Sox. We'll take the break here in the 5th. We're tied 1-1. For the top half of the 5th inning, Yankees and the Sox in a 1-1 tie. And David Price, delighted to have him on with us moments ago. He is done for the day. He sounds like a number 1. He really embraces that role. Not everybody does. Not everyone says, give me the ball, I'm going 9, but that's him.
And it's a hard role to have. I know I never really fit into that role. I tried to lead by example, but he's more of a boisterous leader to try to get the guys around. The guy that comes to my mind when I first signed with the Boston Red Sox was Roger Clemens. He was a huge leader and a huge mentor to me when I first got to the Boston.
Cosma pops that one up as Andrew Bogaerts makes the play, and that's Craig Kimbrell out of the bullpen. And many will tell you that when Dave Dombrowski traded for him in November, the Red Sox got the best closer in baseball.
I totally agree. You know, Jerry was talking about how good the Yankees bullpen is with Miller and the Tanzas and then Chapman closing the game. But with the addition of Craig Kimbrell to this guy throws hard. I mean, really hard. And now you got Junichi Tazawa, Koji Uehara with Craig Kimbrell. I really like the Red Sox chances at the back end of this bullpen.
Right. Another name in there, Carson Smith.
Yes, I forgot about Carson Smith. Another guy that throws very impressive so far. So
he will also pitch here today. Kimbrell over the last 5 years has 224 saves. That's the most in the major leagues. Pop foul by Denorfia. And ERAs that would make Pedro Martinez proud back to 2011. 210, 1.01, 1.21, 1.61. It went all the way up to 2.58 last year.
You know, Wake, you served a lot of roles, obviously, as a player, and you actually did close out games for a while.
I did.
You know the feeling of what it's like to close out games or attempt to close out games, and it takes a special breed to be able to do that.
It does. You have to have a very short memory because things can unfold for you quickly, and you might be called upon the very next night to come in and close games, and it takes a special person to be able to do what Craig Kimbrell has done so far over his career. Not only does he throw really, really hard, he knows how to pitch. You know, sometimes you send guys out there that throw 100, don't know how to pitch, and you as a hitter, I don't care how hard you throw, you see it once or twice, your timing's on it. You can throw 150, and a big league hitter will turn that around very quickly. But he's a guy that really understands his mechanics, knows how to pitch, knows how to use his fastball, and his slider is really ridiculous.
The 2-2.
Right there.
Well, that's an excellent point because you're exactly right. If you're just strictly a fastball pitcher, I mean, you're going to get knocked around. It's just a matter of time. But when you mix in a slider like that, when you throw 96, 97, and then throw those hard sliders down and away, that's not fair. It's really not fair.
It's not, but it's fun to watch.
There's that breaking ball. It starts on the outside corner, finishes away, and you can see the swing not even close to making contact, but not off you.
Here's Heathcott. And when he signed with the Red Sox, he said his plan was, Kimbrel's plan was, when he got here to camp, he was going to talk with Koji about maybe developing a split as well.
Oh, boy.
That'd be against the rules.
That's really unfair if he can learn that.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs it, though.
I don't think he needs it.
I think he's been doing quite well with the pitches that he's had over his career.
In there for a strike. Well, his ERA 1.63 for his career. That's the lowest by a relief pitcher in Major League history among those with 350 or more appearances in Major League history.
That's impressive.
And the 0-2 to Heathcott. He blows him away. 2 strikeouts in the inning. Red Sox fans are hoping they're going to see a lot of this David Price and Craig Kimbrel ball game. Middle of the 5th inning. We're tied 1-1. Red Sox Foundation making dreams come true, and those who make a pledge of $450 or more receive 2 outfield tickets to the Friday, April 29th game. That's against the Yankees. An invitation to a pregame reception. Also included are 2 black T-shirts, similar to T-shirts worn by Red Sox players and coaches, and the autographed commemorative Tim Wakefield mini figurines. Log on right now to RedSox.com/RSF pledge as we take a look at a Red Sox Foundation Cornerstone program.
When you're fighting cancer, it makes all the difference in the world to have the support of others. Our players in the Red Sox Foundation are there for kids and adults battling this terrible disease, offering a smile, a hug, and hope. More than that, the Red Sox partnership with the Jimmy Fund goes back to 1953. We've helped raise over $127 million for cancer treatment and research. It's one of the most amazing partnerships in charity and sports.
We're happy to be joined by Tommy Kelly and his dad, Ed. Tommy, a rambunctious 6-year-old with a very quick wit. Favorite pastime is playing with his 5 and 7-year-old cousins, Martin and Charlie, living a few doors away. Tommy diagnosed back in 2014 with a stage 4 Wilms tumor. At another time, that could have been fatal. We are delighted to report that Tommy is doing very, very well with his dad, Ed. Great to have you both with us.
You're on TV.
Look at Tommy, you're on TV here.
Check it out.
How you feeling, big guy? You feel good?
Yes.
You look good. You look good. Feeling very healthy. Ed, by the way, is a firefighter. Done a lot of things in his lifetime. And do you want to be a firefighter like your dad one day, or do you want to be a baseball player? Do you want to fight fires like Pop?
Yes.
Yeah. Play ball and then fight fires.
There you go.
Or be a relief pitcher and do both of those. Ed, if you can lean in just a little bit,
Sure.
Explain what Tommy went through, what your family went through, and where you are right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'll tell you, when your child's diagnosed with cancer, it is really a life-changing event, as you can imagine. And to me, buddy. And, you know, thank God, because of the relationship that the Red Sox has had with the Jimmy Fund Clinic for over 60 years, Tommy's condition, you know, stage 4 cancer, which has spread to his lungs and down his vena cava, would have been fatal, you know, not that long ago. And thank God, now we have a little guy that we went to the zoo 3 times this week, right?
And what was his favorite?
I don't know. What was your favorite animal?
A cotton top tamarin.
Cotton top tamarin.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
sweet.
Those are gorgeous.
Now, I bet none of these guys can pick that out of a lineup.
No, we can't. No. I know I can't.
No chance. I don't know what that is.
That was there.
Tommy, who's your favorite player on the Red Sox?
Big Papi.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's a lot of
Big
favorites.
Papi shirt on today.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Red Sox and the Yankees tied up 1-1. Hot shot to third. And on target for out number 1. So he looks tremendous. Tommy looks great, but this started with a low-level fever, right?
Right, yeah, he had a low-level fever and a persistent bellyache, and we got concerned that, like, we thought he might have appendicitis. We took him into Boston Children's Hospital. They did an ultrasound and an X-ray, and within about an hour, we were talking to the oncologist who was actually with us the entire time. We just met with her, Katie Greenzing, and Dr. Mullen, Elizabeth Mullen, who treated Tommy since his very first diagnosis. And I'm happy to report that we're just in there at the beginning of the month, and they all said all his scans look good, and come back in another 3 months for a checkup.
Well, the best news you can get.
Exactly. I'll tell you, we're very, very lucky and thankful. But, you know, there's a lot of kids being treated in the Jimmy Fund Clinic right now. And, you know, when we say our prayers at night, we pray for all sick children. And, you know, the work that the Jimmy Fund Clinic has done through the Red Sox is really amazing. And this is testimony to it, the fact that Tommy's with us right now. And, you know, I'll always be indebted to the Red Sox and the Jimmy Fund Clinic and the Dana-Farber and Children's Hospital. And I hope that everyone understands how quick life can change and what a great job they do.
Can see it in your eyes. And any father, any mom who's been through what you've been through feels the same way. Their heart goes out to you, but so do ours. Those of us who've had completely healthy kids their entire lives realize how lucky we are. And what a marvelous time for you guys to be able to be here and share that story with us.
I'll tell you, as a lifelong Bostonian, I've always been a Red Sox fan, and now as a parent of a Jimmy Fund Clinic child, I have to tell you the greatest victories the Sox have had a part of weren't on a ball field. You know, that they were making sure this kid can play ball someday.
Yeah.
And kids just like him. Yeah. Hey, tell them what you said. Who rules and who drools? Oh my God. Red Sox rule and Yankees drool. That's what he was saying earlier.
But the bio is right. Rambunctious is correct, and thank goodness for that. He's a great kid.
Yeah.
Great to have you guys with us.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for what you do.
Thanks, Ed. Appreciate it so much.
High five, Tommy.
High five.
High fives, buddy. Good to see you, pal.
How about Jim? Rem Dog. Boom.
There you
go.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. What a great young man. And the zoo 3 times already. And many more. 2 down. Brian Mitchell, right-hander out of the bullpen here for the Yankees. We're tied up 1-1. Mitchell called up last summer. You may recall this. He was struck in the face by a line drive off the bat of Eduardo Nunez and suffered a nasal fracture. He has recovered from that. Bases empty with 2 down. For Rusney Castillo, who has singled and walked.
I want to get back to the Jimmy Fund again, Dave. It's being able to play for the Red Sox for 17 years, and Jerry can attest to this too. The reason why the relationship is there between the Red Sox and the Jimmy Fund is what we just witnessed right there. I mean, to be able to put a smile on a child's face like that, but not only the patient, but the family as well. The Jimmy Fund really goes above and beyond to make sure that the kids are well taken care of as well as the families.
For 64 years, pretty remarkable success rate.
Yes.
And you're right. I mean, if you're a dad and you're listening to that story, or mom, and you don't tear up, boy, Red Sox Foundation making dreams come true. And those who make a pledge right now of $125 receive 2 outfield tickets to one of the games listed, and also a black tri-blend T-shirt, an autographed commemorative Tim Wakefield mini figurine. And log on right now to RedSox.com/RSF pledge as we take a look at Red Sox Foundation Cornerstone Program.
Being the first in my family to attend college was intimidating. But becoming a Red Sox scholar gave me an entire team and family of people, along with the confidence that I can do it. The Red Sox Scholars Program is more than just a scholarship. It has opened many doors for me, and I am proud to say that as of May 2015, I am a college graduate. I'm so thankful to the Red Sox Foundation for making college a reality for me, and for doing the same for more than 150 other Red Sox scholars throughout the Boston area.
We're saying hello to Isaiah George. He's 17 years old, born in Trinidad. He was selected as part of the class of 2009 Red Sox scholars when he was in the 5th grade. Now lives in Mattapan with his mom and younger sister. Currently a senior at Cristo Rey High School. And I mean a standout in mathematics who right now is awaiting word from many, many colleges. We're going to get to your favorites right now. Who's going to say yes to you? Because who would say no to you? I know what a terrific student you are. But when you were selected in the 5th grade to be a scholar, how did that make you feel?
It honestly made me feel like I was, really special. My mom made me work really hard on the application. I remember staying up late at night using a dictionary, using words that I didn't even know, but she really pushed me to do it.
Would you write three different essays?
Yeah, 3 different essays.
Yeah, tremendous.
Yeah.
Are you a good writer? We know you're great at math. You're a pretty good writer.
Yeah. I think of myself to be so.
And I know you told us your GPA earlier. I know it's sky high. So at this time, as we're sitting here, you're getting your college letters back, right?
Yeah.
And I know you're getting all yeses on those, but it's Holy Cross you really want to go to number 1. That's your primary, right?
Absolutely.
And so, Jerry, if you can take it from here.
Well, he's still waiting, folks, for his letter from Holy Cross. So if Holy Cross is watching tonight,
they better be.
This is the man right here. Acceptance. He deserves it.
Incoming freshman. How do you think that worked? Was it over the top too much?
No.
Good. That's it. Because we could all use all the help we can get, right?
Yeah.
Well, apparently not in your case. You've got it aces.
And what do you want to major in when you get to school?
I want to major in mechanical engineering.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
And we also understand that you're a very good piano player.
Yep, self-taught.
Self-taught.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Tazawa in the game here, and he fires into strike. How long have you been playing the piano?
I started back in 2010. While I was at camp, a couple of athletes taught me how to play, and from then on, I just found the love in the instrument, and then I started teaching myself at home.
And do you read music?
Yeah, I know how to read music, but I like to play without it.
So you can play. So can you compose at the piano?
Yeah.
So yeah.
What kind of music do you like to play?
I like to play R&B, classical music, and yeah.
Everything. I love it.
All right, so another one for the application for the folks at Holy Cross.
that was Holy Cross.
They're going to love to hear that. What's your most fond memory since being selected as a Red Sox scholar?
Definitely back in 2013, I got a chance to play ball at the World Series game.
At the World Series?
Yeah.
At Fenway Park?
Yep.
That's not bad.
It's pretty good.
That is not bad at all. So you had an opportunity to do a lot of great things already.
Yeah.
And obviously your future is as bright as could possibly be. You've got to be very excited.
Thanks to the Red Sox Foundation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Great to have you with us and visiting, and I wish we all had your future.
Thank you.
But keep being a Red Sox fan, and let's say the next time you come to Fenway for a World Series is this coming October, okay?
Awesome.
Come on up to the booth and say hello as well.
I definitely will.
That'll work.
Isaiah George, 17 years old, but a great, great future in front of him, joining us here in the booth. Red Sox class of 2009 scholar. Red Sox Scholars Program is presented by Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center. It's a college scholarship and enrichment program managed by the Red Sox Foundation. And scholars receive a $10,000 scholarship redeemable upon enrollment in a college or university. Wave and a miss by A-Rod, and so far tonight, Alex Rodriguez has struck out twice.
An excellent breaking ball. That pitch has really improved with Zazawa over the last couple of years. We see it a lot on the first pitch for him, but he's got the confidence now to use it just about any time at all.
The 0-2 into the dirt. Red Sox season ticket holders experience the best seats, price, and benefits at Fenway. For information on becoming a season ticket holder, please visit redsox.com/season tickets or call 877 Red Sox 9 today. And the Sox have gone with a whole new outfield. Craig in left, Lamar in center, and Brennan Bosch in right. Travis Shaw now into the ball game at third base for Sandoval. And a high fly to right field. Bosch closing near the line. 2 up and 2 down. And now Mark Teixeira to get another at bat. Teixeira tonight has struck out and flied out. A strong year last year with 31 home runs. Yankees were a top 5 home run team in the American League, but he got hurt again with a fractured shin in August. Over the last 4 years, he's played only 372 out of a possible 624 games. So it's been a battle for the Yankee first baseman. He takes a pitch into the dirt.
That's sort of things we were talking about earlier, Obi, about this Yankee ball club. I mean, they do have some age on them. There's no question about that. And a lot of their success, I think, depends on whether some of these guys can stay healthy over the course of the whole season.
I totally agree with you. I mean, he had 31 homers and he got hurt. He missed a lot of at-bats in September. You can imagine the numbers he could have put up if he had stayed healthy. But from 1 through 9, these guys, like you say, they got to stay healthy to compete. And I think their starting rotation will be good. Obviously, their bullpen is great, but you got to score runs to win ball games. And if their lineup can't stay healthy, you might see some moves being made by the New York Yankees by June.
It's interesting how they've really got away from free agency over the last few years, trying to build through trades, through their farm system. And, you know, they made every year they see to make a big splash, but it's a little bit different now, the way they run things.
Fouled at home plate. Bases empty, 2 down. Now Joe Girardi will bring back Jacoby Ellsbury and Brian McCann, Brett Gardner. So a lot of familiar faces. We're seeing TEIXEIRA and A-Rod here tonight. But a bullpen that really allows him to shorten the game.
It does, definitely. It's one of those situations. I don't think that he can rely on the starters really to go deep in the games right now. Obviously, CeCe Bassey was their ace. He's going to be a huge plus to their rotation if he can stay healthy. If they can give him if he can average 5 to 6 innings every single start and make 30 starts with them, that's huge for the Yankees.
Yeah, I really think the Yankees right now consider Sabathia a number 5 guy in their rotation. I really do. And you know, if they can get semi-decent performance out of him, that's going to be a plus. You really don't know right now what to expect from CC at this point of his career.
Tazawa with a 2-2. Foul tipped in the mitt. He struck him out. So the Red Sox power arms have looked like it tonight. Big 6th inning. Yankees 1, Red Sox 1 from JetBlue Park in Fort Myers.
Have you or a loved one
Yeah, Red Sox in a 1-1 tie with the New York Yankees. Jerry Remy, Tim Wakefield, Dave O'Brien with you here from JetBlue as Dustin Pedroia leads it off by taking a strike here in the 6th inning. Pedroia has singled and struck out. David Ortiz is on deck. And then Xander Bogaerts scheduled to follow. Tried to hold up but could not do it. A swing and a miss.
That's pretty tough to stay off a 95-mile-an-hour fastball up around your eyes. It looks so good, but it's so hard to hit.
Big Papi 0 for 2 so far in this one. Pedroia looking for his second hit. Flies that one to right field. And the catch made well shy of the warning track for out number 1. And David Ortiz next. Big Papi has hit into a double play and grounded out. He is 0 for 2. Yankees with a number of changes here. Coelho is the new right fielder. That's in there for a strike. Gamble now in left with Silva in center. Shortstop Diaz, he can't find it. Now he locates it. This could be a tough time of the night.
We've had to deal with everything right now. We've had sun shadows to start the game. Now you're dealing with twilight. And I got to tell you, twilight is very, very difficult because if you take your eye off the ball for a second, it's almost impossible to pick it up. And this lasts for about 5 to 10 minutes every single night on a bright night on a nice day where there's not a lot of clouds. But it is tough to pick up that baseball in these conditions.
Xander Bogaerts 1 for 2 with a base hit. Parmalee taking over at first base for the Yankees. And that one through for a base hit. That's classic Xander Bogaerts there. Think of all the hits he had last year, 196 hits. A lot of them right to that right side or inside the bag at first.
Yeah, I think as the season goes on, OB, you're going to see more teams, and probably at the start of the season, I think pinching Bogart in that 3-4 hole between first and second base because, that's where he gets a lot of hits. And I think they're going to try to force him to pull the ball, and we'll have to see how Xander adjusts to that as the season goes on.
That'll set up Hanley Ramirez. He struck out and has an infield hit. Runner at first base, 2 gone here in the 6th inning for the Red Sox. Hit sharply, a diving play by Diaz. The shovel to second base in time, and that stole a hit on a fine defensive effort. That retires the side. The Red Sox held a 1 hit and no runs in the 6th inning. Hanley a little peeved at having that hit taken away. End of the 6th inning. Yankees and Red Sox in a 1-1 tie, and the Red Sox Foundation is making dreams come true. Those who make a pledge of $50 right now receive 1 black tri-blend t-shirt, similar to t-shirts exclusively worn by Sox players and coaches. Log on right now to redsox.com/RSF to pledge as we take a look at a Red Sox Foundation Cornerstone program.
When a boy puts on his glove and runs onto the Little League field, he learns how to play the game. But he learns so much more. Character, focus, discipline, and teamwork. The Red Sox Foundation supports Little League teams throughout Massachusetts because these kids are our future. We support these teams so that boys and girls from 5 years old to 18 can play, learn skills, lessons, and chase their dreams.
John Berardi is joining us, a Massachusetts Little League District Administrator, also a member of the Little League International Advisory Committee. His involvement in Little League goes back 35 years. John, how does a team go about getting sponsored by the Red Sox Foundation?
Very simply, we provide an application to all of our leagues, nearly 200 across the state. Submit the application. We process it with Gina and Rico at the foundation. And they get a nice $500 support.
Nice.
Very nice.
I like how you've streamlined it.
Yes.
Very, very, very nice. So many kids are being helped.
so many. We've got, like I mentioned, 200 leagues across the state. That's about 55,000 players.
Wow.
In Massachusetts, baseball, softball, and our Challenger program.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's where I got my start, Little League. And when I was growing up in Melbourne, Florida, I played from when I was 5 till I was 18. And I'm proud to say and hear that you guys are still honoring that, you know, from 5 to 18 years old. You went from different league to different league. But the most important thing, you know, that people don't realize is that the umpires are volunteers. You know, the coaches volunteer. You know, my dad was my coach for a little bit. But what an amazing program Little League Baseball has become over the last 20, 30, 40 years. I mean, it's truly amazing.
If you think about the number of teams we have, it takes a volunteer corps, well over 5,000 volunteers across the state to do that. And the Red Sox Foundation supports that by acknowledging that and doing a Volunteer of the Year award and bringing them to Fenway in late August. It's a very nice recognition for without them, it wouldn't happen.
It's a great success story. And your own background, talk about that a little bit from your dad and your own umpiring background and how you became so seriously involved.
Well, my dad was a 60-year volunteer for Little League, 50 years of that as district administrator. So I think when I was about 17, he dragged me out to start umpiring. So I started with umpiring and then did some coaching with my older brother and then coached my kids through Little League.
Let me ask you this question. I remember when I was playing through Little League, the biggest thing on the press box, or if a ball got out of play, do you still offer a hot dog and a Coke if you return the ball to the concession stand?
Not so much
Maybe?
anymore.
No?
Gets expensive.
I'm sure it does.
Carson Smith coming in, the sinker baller, the unusual delivery here. The Red Sox Foundation Massachusetts Little League initiative is presented by Massachusetts Health Connector, also sponsored by HP Hood and Skeeter Snacks.
Excellent. Hood really treated us well the past couple of years on our state finals. They've come out. Last year they brought the Hood truck out to Lynn. Kids got a great night of ice cream treats. A couple of years ago we had the Hood Blimp party.
Yes, I remember that.
Up near Beverly. Another exciting event.
That's when I got to go for a ride in the Hood Blimp.
There you go.
That was fun.
Already heard that story tonight, and in this booth he's the only one going up, I can tell you that. Brock Holt into the game, on to first to get Rev Snyder. He's taken over for Dustin Pedroia at second base. Travis Shaw is also taken over at third base. And Sam Travis over at first base. So keep
not only do you, I mean, in Little League, not only do you teach kids how to play the game, but what's the most important part of the building of the youth?
Building the youth and some of the character. One thing we've done is we're entering our 30th year of the Little League Jimmy Fund program. So in Massachusetts, these kids go out there while they're playing baseball in the summer after the regular season is over. They go out and raise money for the Jimmy Fund.
Oh.
And we've averaged $250,000 a year for the past 12 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's incredible. It's given back, especially when you see folks, you know, a young boy like Tommy earlier.
Right.
It really ties it all in. It's a wonderful program.
It's excellent.
Well, John, it was a tough basketball season for Boston College.
And football.
You're a BC guy. You work there, and football as well. But brighter days are ahead.
Baseball team is doing pretty well right now.
Baseball team's darn good. Actually, got off to a great start. We saw them here at Fenway South.
The hockey team is entering the tournament.
I like the way you think. You're always looking on the upside. I like that.
The girls are undefeated.
And the girls are undefeated. Great. John, thanks so much. Great job. Continued success to you. Great work with this program, and we all played Little League, and all of us, and it's in our hearts forever. So, thank you. Thanks so much. John Berardi, Massachusetts Little League District Administrator, Massachusetts Little League. 2 down is Carson Smith. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this season. Jerry, with this heavy bowling ball that he throws.
Yeah, this is a one nasty sinker that this guy has, and he hides it so well. It's going to be so tough for right-handers and left-handers both to pick up that sinker, and he's also got a very hard slider to go along with it. This, to me, was a great deal for the Red Sox.
I totally agree. This guy throws out of his jersey, and especially if he's wearing a white jersey, it's going to be hard for the hitters to see that. And if you just watch the hitters' reactions, they'll tell you how nasty this guy's sinker is.
That's a heavy baseball. They call it in baseball a heavy ball. That's what he throws. And already in this inning, he's got 2 ground ball outs.
Tim Wakefield admiring a pitcher and his ability to deceive the hitter. That means a lot coming from you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as easy as it looks, and to be able to, I mean, he throws hard too, and his slider's 85 miles an hour. It's an amazing thing, like we talked about earlier. I don't care how hard you throw, if you don't have breaking stuff like that, or you can't throw strikes, the hitters at this level will catch up to you. Their timing is that good that they'll be able to catch up to you, but his deceptiveness makes him that much more dangerous of a pitcher to face.
Yeah,
it's truly amazing.
Obviously, for a hitter, you know, the earlier you can pick up the baseball, the better chance you get. And
Tried to hold up, but he couldn't.
You just can't pick that up.
Yep. Strike 3. So he makes quick work of the Yankees here. 1-2-3. Red Sox pitching has allowed only 3 hits tonight. Middle of the 7th, Red Sox won and the Yankees won for JetBlue.
There's a lot to see.
Hey, tonight after Bruins coverage on NESN Sports Today, we have highlights and reaction from tonight's Red Sox Foundation game here in Fort Myers. Also, we'll be talking about what is next with the Patriots in free agency. NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. See what know-how can do. And Travis Shaw getting his first at bat here tonight. He's the hottest hitter in camp, hitting .522. He's gone 12 for 22 homers and 9 runs batted in.
He's making a case for himself tonight. Yeah, I was really impressed when he got called up last year. The ability to hit at the big league level.
Broken bat roller.
Successfully.
Parmalee will take that for the out. 1 gone. Red Sox group outings are the perfect way to entertain your clients or boost employee morale. Visit redsox.com/groups for more information. And Alan Craig up to hit for the first time tonight. He's gone into the game in left field. I'm sure Allen is hoping for the opportunity to be a regular somewhere. It will not be with the Red Sox this season unless someone gets hurt. He takes a strike. The right-hander's 0-1 will miss. Brennan Bosch on deck.
Now, we always talk about all the scouts that follow teams in spring training, and they're certainly following the Red Sox, looking at players like Craig to see if he can be a help to some other organization. Craig has actually swung the bat, I thought, pretty good this spring in the games that I've seen. And there are many of the scouts that are located behind home plate. here at JetBlue.
1-2 spoiled, back out of play.
Yeah, I think that injury had a lot to do with how he's been playing the last couple of years. He's one of those guys that we call gamers that's not going to say anything, not making excuses, but I really feel like that injury has really hindered his swing a little bit, and now we're starting to see maybe the maturation of his healing process and maybe getting back to the form he was with the Cardinals in the World Series.
Yeah, I think you know, Wake, as well as anybody, that when you're hurt and you continue to play, or you get in bad habits, and sometimes those habits are very, very difficult to break, and they take a long time.
Absolutely.
92 RBIs in 2012, 97 in 13. Did he offer? No, says Tim Timmons.
He's lucky he's still standing there. Where was that pitch? That looked like a pretty good pitch.
It wasn't on the swing.
Take another look at the breaking ball. Boy, that's a nasty spot. That's basically unhittable. And I think he did go.
I don't know.
No?
I'm not a big check swing guy. I can never tell.
Foul ball yanked to third.
Big toe.
And Torres on target for the second out. So 2 up and 2 down. Hey, don't miss Zach Brown, the Zach Brown Band this summer at Fenway Park. This is a great show.
Oh my gosh, I've seen him twice at Fenway Park. It is amazing. Not only does he play his songs, but he covers a lot of other band songs. He's a tremendous musician overall.
His whole band is.
His whole band is. It's incredible to go and watch and listen to him play.
August 21. Go to redsox.com/Zach Brown Band. Those tickets go very quickly. So you should jump on that if you're a Zach Brown fan or want to be. All my kids are. They go to all of his shows. We can never go. Jerry and I were on the road all the time.
Right.
And, yeah, we're a little miffed about it. One of these days, if
Colin's sick.
It would Colin sick. And who would notice, right?
Exactly.
Go see Zach Brown. Brendan Bosch, the left-hand hitter, will take one outside. Bases are empty and 2 down. We are tied 1-1. A night certainly dominated by pitching.
It has been.
It's been a very good baseball game tonight. It really has. Crisp, very, very well pitched at a good pace and pretty good defense. It's been a good game.
Brock Holt is on deck. I was talking to Brock yesterday about the depth of this team, and of course he plays a very active role in that with all the positions he plays, playing 7 positions. And he's impressed with the Red Sox bench and believes it's really going to be a strength of this team. Not so much a year ago. 3-1 hammered to short. Diaz with a backhand stab, and first baseman Parmalee holds the bag for the out. That will retire the side. Another 1-2-3 inning. We've seen a lot of those tonight. Beautiful night here at JetBlue Park. Red Sox Foundation making dreams come true. Those who make a pledge of $450 or more, you get 2 outfield tickets to the Friday, April 29 game against the Yankees, an invitation to a pregame reception, also 2 black T-shirts, 2 autographed commemorative Tim Wakefield mini figurines. Log on to redsox.com/RSF pledge right now as we take a look at the Red Sox Foundation Cornerstone program.
Just 3 miles from Fenway Park, the Dimmick Health Center offers checkups to children and families from all backgrounds, and it treats the sick. The Red Sox Foundation has a long history of supporting the Dimmick Center. Dimmick is a true leader in treating addiction and substance abuse, and today its services are needed more than ever. The Dimmick Center has helped thousands and thousands of children and grown-ups recover and heal, and the Red Sox Foundation is proud to partner with the Dimmick Center.
Honored to be joined by Dr. Maisha Minter-Jordan, the president and CEO of the Dimmick Center. Listen to some of these credentials, and this is just some of them now.
I know them.
Graduate of Brown University School of Medicine and John Hopkins University School of Business, 2007 She moved to Boston to become Chief Medical Officer for the Dimmick Center. In a role of Chief Medical Officer, she played a leadership role in developing the Harvard Primary Care Center initiative, and we are so honored to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Talk about the Dimmick Center and exactly what you do.
The Dimmick Center began in 1862 as the New England Hospital for Women and Children and became a community health center in 1969. As such, we are the largest health and human services agency in Boston. We serve over 17,000 people a year in a variety of areas. Child and family services, where we have Head Start, early Head Start, and preschool. We also have a health center that has primary care and specialty care. And then we have behavioral health. We have an inpatient detox at a time that's really critical for the opioid epidemic. We have residential recovery programs and outpatient as well.
Let's talk about the opioid epidemic. I mean, how many cases are you seeing in the Boston area now?
There are 4 people dying a day in Massachusetts. It's incredible what is happening to our country, not only in Massachusetts, but everywhere. And at Dimmick, we serve over 4,000 people a year in our behavioral health programs, 3,000 in our inpatient detox. And we just came online with a capital campaign to raise more money to increase the number of beds within our detox, so we'll be able to serve over 4,000 people a year now.
Good for you.
Yes, we're really, really ecstatic about that. And without the support of the Red Sox Foundation, we wouldn't be able to do that.
Now Robert Ross coming on and immediately strikes the first batter, Jonathan Diaz, with a pitch. So Dimmick is building a new detox center.
That's right. We are adding additional beds and really working hard to address the epidemic that's facing not only Massachusetts but the entire country. So between that, our outpatient programs as well as our residential programs, we have the full continuum on one campus.
What is triggering this epidemic in this political year? We're hearing a lot of talk about this, but what's triggering it?
A lot of it is just pain meds on the street. OxyContin, most of the folks that we see, out of 4 people who have been addicted to medicines, we see that they've started out with opioids, with narcotics, and that were prescribed as part of a back surgery or a type of surgery or a procedure, and then from there on they just become addicted to harder and harsher drugs like heroin. It's really unfortunate, and we're working hard to really work to
the things that I'm hearing is that the heroin is actually cheaper because the OxyContin, the oxycodone is very expensive on the streets. And when you get addicted to that, whether it's a sports injury or whatever, you know, first thing to turn to is whatever's cheapest, and heroin is the cheapest opioid out there to unfortunately. It's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah, and it's becoming stronger and more potent and cheaper. And that's what's really taking the lives of so many people.
I live in New Hampshire, and it's probably the #1 issue in the state of New Hampshire.
It is in many states, particularly in New England, but all across the country. It's really unfortunate. So we are really just pleased and fortunate that we can actually do something about this.
That's awesome. And I'd like to see some of these pain medicines stopped giving, doctors giving them out so frequently. And I know seen documentaries on the Oxy Highway, the people coming down all these pain clinics out there. This is kind of where it's getting its start from.
Yeah, Governor Baker just passed important legislation just on Friday to reduce the number of pain pills out on the street, and I was fortunate enough to be there when he signed that bill. And
awesome.
Again, without organizations like the Red Sox Foundation, we wouldn't be able to do the work that we do to combat this terrible disease.
I was going to say the Red Sox Foundation near and dear to your heart.
Very much so. We've partnered with the Red Sox Foundation for a number of years, and they really help us in terms of not only behavioral health, but our child and family programs. We have community service days where we have Red Sox Foundation staff and players come out to our campus and really help to beautify our campus and make it a place where people can get their health care but also feel like they're respected and in a beautiful environment.
And feel safe.
That's right.
That's the biggest thing.
That's right. Safety is really critical.
Doctor, great pleasure to meet you, and continue with the great work at the Dimmick Center. And I know the foundation will be right there, the Red Sox Foundation, side by side with you. But keep up the great work.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being with us. Thank you. Great pleasure. Real honor.
Thanks. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
And one of the heroes. Been a terrific night for the Red Sox Foundation and for the cornerstones like Dr. Minter Jordan, CEO of the Dimmick Center. Foul ball off the bat on the check swing. We are tied up 1-1 here in the 8th inning, in a game that Jerry Remy has moved right along.
Now you do today. I see 19 innings in that pitch.
Well, thankfully, it's not the case in spring training. The teams can get together and put an end to it after 9 innings, and will on occasion. Ground ball inside third, past Shaw down the line. Greg will have to scoop it up near the short fence. Throwing to third, not in time, and that'll be a double to put runners at second and third for the Yankees. The Red Sox Foundation is making dreams come true. A $50 pledge supplying a college prep class for one Red Sox scholar or 1 hour pitching lesson from an RBI softball player. A $125 pledge sends a Red Sox scholar or RBI player to summer camp. And a $450 pledge supplies uniforms for an entire RBI team. Thanks so much for your continued support of the Red Sox Foundation and its cornerstones. So 2 men in scoring position here.
You might be able to name your team too with that pledge.
Is that right?
Maybe call it the Obies.
I like the sound of it.
There you go.
At least I do. I don't know about anybody else, but I do. I think you're onto something, Wake. Infield in with one down. Red Sox trying to cut the runner down at home plate. Puello with a big swing and a miss.
If you're the hitter in this situation, Puello, you're looking for something that you can lift in the air. Either a base hit to drive it to, or if not, something you can get in the air so you can get that run from third home.
Did you like hitting in these situations? Do you feel like it was a free RBI for you?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. You see that infield in, and you know you have an opportunity. Sometimes you have to change or adjust your swing a little bit to get that ball in the air, but you try to get that fly ball and get that run home, especially in these close games.
Chop foul as he just gets a piece of it. Robbie Ross Jr. will be in a Red Sox bullpen this season. And his 8th year as a professional. Last year 0-2, but 54 appearances and a .386 ERA. So the Red Sox turn to him frequently. Would love a strikeout right here. Lined up the middle instead. That could mean 2 runs. 1 man in. Here's the throw from Lamar that's cut and 2-run score. And the Yankees lead it 3-1. Puello with a 2-run single up the middle.
That's a good job of hitting right there. I mean, you know, he gets down to a couple of strikes. He really stays on that breaking ball right there. Looked like a little slider from Ross and able to drive in both runs. The infield pulled in. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. If they were back, they were not going to get to this line drive. See the third base coach halfway between third and home, waving home that second runner, trying to get a real good look in a good position to wave him home.
So the Yankees grab the lead here in the 8th inning. Carlos Corcoran here as he knocks a foul out of play. Alex Rodriguez was the DH tonight and wound up going 0 for 3 in this spot, hitting second in the Yankee order. All right, Teixeira now out of the game as well. The 2 name Yankees who made the trip among the regulars. And Tapper to Shaw, he snags that. And they're 2 down with a runner holding at second base.
See, there's a good play, in my opinion, by Shaw, because he didn't come up with it clean. And instead of trying to rush that ball at second base and maybe throw it into right field, he just takes the sure route at first base. You'll see that right there, it's not exactly clean in his glove. So forget about the play at second base, because there's a good chance that guy's going to be safe. Just make sure you get the 1 out.
Those are great baseball instincts that can't be taught. I think he's very good at the ability to make those decisions on his own out there on the field. Yeah. Whether he's at first or at third, he has great baseball instincts.
Yeah, reads the game very, very well.
He grew up in major league clubhouses following his dad, Jeff. High chop going to be a tough play. Ross throws. It gets away at first base, and another run is in, and the Yankees lead it 4-1. Well, you knew when that chopped up near the mound, that was going to be one of those do-or-die plays. Very difficult play to make.
That's a tough play for a pitcher to make. The balls, you don't know where the second baseman is on that play. You're going back. You're shielding the lights. Ball's over his head. Fields it cleanly, but the throw on the run for pitchers isn't that easy, and unfortunately the ball gets away from Travis.
Yeah, and you can see Travis also. I mean, it's one of those balls where you got 3 guys chasing it, the pitcher, the second baseman, and the first baseman, and Travis had no way to get back to the bag in time to get an accurate throw from Robbie Ross.
So Ronald Torres will be the next man up in an inning that has seen the Yankees score 3 times. That's upstairs for ball 1. Got a piece. He fouled it off himself at home plate. The David Price went the first 4 innings and had some blazing stuff tonight, and we chatted with him afterwards. Would you both agree he looked pretty pleased with where he is in spring training?
I think so. I think he, even though he said he had better stuff his last start, he was able to pitch, and that's a good sign to have coming out of spring training, knowing that maybe you didn't have your best stuff, but he was able to pitch his way and locate his pitches where he wanted to and make the pitches when he needed to. That's a sign of it's a good sign for a starting pitcher to have that ability to compete this early in spring training.
Yeah, I think that the thing that surprised me the most about this outing tonight is the fact that it's only his second in Major League competition, and I thought his control was pinpoint in the ball game tonight, with especially his fastball.
Runner goes, throw down to second, won't get him. So Torres is on with a stolen base into scoring position. And aerial coverage is provided by DirecTV. That's a gorgeous view, and if you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. So man is second for the Yankees. Ross just trying to get through this inning without any more runs being allowed by the left-hander. And his 3-2 pitch. And he walks him. First and second here for the Yankees, and here comes Carl Willis. Well, if you're looking to provide a once-in-a-lifetime experience for yourself and your guests, visit redsox.com/premium sales or email premium sales@redsox.com to learn more about the Red Sox suites and premium packages.
It's a good time, I think, to ask Wake about this. You know, they got this new rule in now, and only got a certain amount of time for the pitching coach to talk to the pitcher, and I kind of like it because I think you get your point across very quickly out there.
I agree with you, and I don't think Carl went out there really to say anything. He's making sure that he's okay. It's early in spring. He's obviously had to throw a lot of pitches this inning, and you never want to overextend Robbie because he's going to be a big part of your bullpen, but he needs to get his work in, and I agree with the clock on it. Like, say what you need to say, get it over with. There's so many times that I think what Major League Baseball is trying to do is to prevent a manager or a pitching coach to go out to buy time for the guy in the bullpen to get ready.
I agree.
That's another way to speed up the game.
Right-hander Noe Ramirez is throwing out there in the bullpen. Culver with a hot shot. That's fair down the line. That's going to go all the way into the corner up against the fence. One run is in. They're going to wave in Torres. Here's the throw to the plate, and that's off target. Runner holding at second base. And so now the Yankees open it up with a 2-run double with 2 down and take a 6-1 lead, and that will do it for Robbie Ross tonight. A rough outing.
And you look at this inning, how did it all start? It started with a hit batter right down the third base line, and that's going to not hit that wall. It's going to hug it and go all the way down to the corner. 2 runs are going to be able to score. Ross right now has reached his pitch limit, and not a very good inning at all. Red Sox a little sloppy in this inning too.
So what had been a well-played game and a very well-pitched game takes a bit of an ugly turn. Noe Ramirez coming out of the bullpen. 8th inning, Yankees now on top 6-1 at JetBlue Park. Hey, Friday night, don't miss the Hockey East semifinals. UMass Lowell taking on Providence at 5 o'clock. That's followed by Northeastern against Boston College on NESN Plus. Catch all the college hockey drama right here on NESN. And the Red Sox just trying to get one more out here in the 8th inning. It's been elusive. Robbie Ross knocked around here. It started when he hit the leadoff batter, and nothing good ever comes of that.
No, unfortunately, you never want the leadoff batter to get on. And if he's going to get on, you want him to get on with a base hit. You never want to hit the leadoff guy. But I felt Robbie pitched well enough. Unfortunately, he made some mistakes out over the middle of the plate. I know the one double that was hitting the gap was a ball that was supposed to be in. He left it, kind of middle, down middle of the plate. And, that's what spring training's for, is to work on your mechanics, work on your location. And, we know how well Robbie Ross is going to pitch for the Boston Red Sox. It's just one of those nights you'd like to forget and go about your work tomorrow.
So here's Ramirez, his 5th professional season and his 2nd with the Red Sox. 6'3", 205 pounds. He appeared in 17 games for Boston last year. 0-1 with a 4.15 ERA.
I know, Wake. When you played and when I played, I mean, in spring training, I felt just as bad if I didn't play well than I did during the season. Yeah. But you always have to fall back on.
You always feel bad.
You always feel bad.
It doesn't matter. You try to blow it off like, oh, it's only spring training, no big deal. But trust me, you still feel terrible when you leave the game if you've given it up.
Catcher Sanchez, who appeared in just a couple of games with the Yankees last year, but showed some power in the minor leagues with 18 home runs. Has a runner at second base and 2 down. Yankees on top here, 6-1. I think the other guy that you look at, and you look at with a very impressive performance tonight, was Craig Kimbrell. Yeah. And, I mean, if you were sitting outside the ballpark, let's say you were in your car trying to get into the ballpark while he was pitching, you could hear it hit the mitt. It was resounding around this ballpark.
Looking at the score, looking at the radar gun above down the left field line, it was 97, 98 miles an hour. So definitely a good sight to see.
Oh, when you look at the Red Sox bullpen in particular tonight, with it's working in reverse, obviously, but with Kimbrell, Tazawa, and Smith, all three, in my opinion, were very, very impressive in this game tonight.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's a great thing for Red Sox fans to be able to watch this broadcast, to see, you got your ace on the mound and you're seeing all the guys that are probably going to be in the bullpen for the Red Sox.
And Jerry, you made this point the other day. That'll be a base hit with runners at first and third. It's nice to see when a manager, he brings his starter into the ball game. Tonight it was Price. He goes 4 innings. And the very next guy after him is the closer. You're getting the closer into the game, not in the 8th and 9th inning when the irregulars are now in the game, but when the regulars are in.
Right. It makes no sense to me to have a closer come around and sit around for 3 hours to come in and pitch against guys that, are not going to be in the big leagues this season, or not on a regular basis anyway. And it makes more sense to me to come in there, fresh after your starting pitcher is gone and get your work in then.
Ramirez with a comebacker, the underhand toss to finally retire the side, but the Yankees open up a 6-1 lead. So the Red Sox with a lot of work to do. We're in the middle of the 8th inning here at JetBlue. Yankees 6 and the Red Sox 1.
I do everything on the internet, but
In 2016, every Tuesday is Take Home Tuesday at Fenway. The first 15,000 fans will receive one of this season's great giveaway items, like an Ortiz 500 necklace, a Mookie Betts bobblehead, even a pet Brock. For tickets and for more information, visit redsox.com/promos. We're dying to get a look at the pet Brock.
I have no idea what that might be.
No idea. You got to sprinkle water on it and something happens, but sprinkle water on it, it plays 7 positions, I guess.
Sounds like more of a chia pet.
Yes.
I was actually at a function early this afternoon with Brock Holt, and the question was asked, what's your favorite position to play? And he said, whichever one John Farrell puts me at.
Good answer.
He just wants to be in there, that's all. And he's going to be in there a lot.
Yes, he will. That's the hardest position to play as a utility player, because for years we had guys, you don't get a lot of at bats, and that's the hard thing. I mean, you can field your position, but unless you're getting regular at bats, and you have to come in and face like a David Price or a Betanzas or something like that. It's amazing what he's accomplished over his career, especially here in Boston. And he's getting enough at bats. I think John Farrell realizes that, with his utility players, whether it's going to be a Travis Shaw in the infield along with Brock Holt or Chris Young in the outfield, you got to get them regular at bats.
And I think these guys are becoming more and more valuable in baseball, and I think people are recognizing just how valuable they are. I mean, when you got a guy that can play all different spots, you have the ability to give guys rest. You have the confidence in that player to go in and do a decent job defensively and offensively, which is not an easy thing to do. I mean, people think moving in a position is easy. All it takes is a little work. That's not the case. It's not easy to move from one position to another.
I totally agree, and I don't think a championship can be won without a good core of utility players. The guys that can step in like a Brock Holt or a Travis Shaw or a Chris Young. You look at the 2013 team. That wasn't the starting 9 every single night. It was the guys that would come in and give a Dustin Pedroia a day off when he's needed, instead of going into August and September, and he's played 37 games in a row.
Up the middle for Holt and a base hit. I think of Johnny Gomes. How many big hits did Johnny Gomes have?
Right.
Coming off the bench that year.
It's the role players.
Well, I'll make a point, too, that I think you'll agree with, is the fact that you need guys that accept that role, too. Everybody wants to play. There's no doubt about that. But when you have players that accept the fact that, look, I'm going to be a role player on this team. I'm going to get plenty of at-bats. And they can accept that fact and not mope around and not, be begging for playing time and doing it. I mean, that's special. I mean, because you've already got half the battle won.
Absolutely. And the same goes for the guys in the bullpen, too. Whether you're a long reliever or you're going to come in, pitch the 5th or the 6th, or come and be asked to get out of an inning. I mean, that's a tough job to do. You don't have a specific role down there. You could be the 6th starter that's down there. You're a long guy. You can be a lefty specialist. You're only asked to come in to get one out. I mean, that's difficult, not knowing what your role is in the bullpen.
Yeah, we hear that a lot, and it's so true. An everyday player, or you know what your role is, whether you're a starter or a closer or the 8th inning guy. I mean, it's much easier to come to the ballpark, and when you don't know, you don't know what to expect every day that you come there.
Yeah, and it's not the physical problem; it's the mental problem.
It's the mental side.
You come to the ballpark not knowing if you're going to play that day.
Right.
Like I always hated the bullpen by committee. Well, you go down there, you're in the bullpen. What inning am I supposed to pitch? So you don't know. It's tough. One day you might be the closer, next day you might be a 1 inning or a 1 out type of guy. It's hard to compete at this level mentally, not knowing what your job's going to be.
Lamar the batter with a man at second base. Sam Travis on deck. Yankees on top here 6-1 in the 8th inning. In a game that started an hour earlier than a typical nighttime affair, starting just after 6, and it did present some sun problems. Slicer foul back into the screen. It presented some sun problems on ground balls, on high choppers on the infield.
Well, the one that comes to mind specifically is a throw for, I don't remember who was playing, but the third baseman on a double play ball to the second baseman almost took his head off.
Yeah, that was on the Yankee side, and of course the one that was also soft line drive that was hit to Dustin Pedroia earlier.
Right. Very unusual. A ball and 2 strikes on Lamar.
You only see that in spring training. You won't see that during the regular season.
In there, got him looking. Strike 3. So Lamar will take a seat. Hey, tonight after this Red Sox Foundation game, stay tuned to Nesson as the Bruins face off against the San Jose Sharks. The puck will drop at 10 p.m. Nesson is your official home for Boston Bruins hockey. So Sam Travis, the 22-year-old from Chicago, who started Indiana University, will step in with one man out. That one out of the mid of Sanchez, but no advance by the runner.
That's a pretty easy one for a runner to pick up because that ball is rolling up the third base side, and you're down by 5 runs. You're not going to take a chance, and certainly anything rolling down that third base line, you're not going to be able to advance. So a good read by Brock Holt, knowing the situation, not taking that chance.
Red Sox have been held to 5 hits in this one. Yankees have 7. And the 1-0. Hammered. Knocked down by the shortstop Diaz, and will wind up without a play. Runners will be safe at first and second. Again, Brock Holt staying put. And Travis will be on with a base hit.
And nothing Holt could do because, you know, he thought that ball was going to be caught. And that ball had some serious topspin on it as it got out to the shortstop Diaz. That's a good read by Holt right there. You know, you're down again. You don't want to take any chances. Make sure the ball gets through. And, boy, that ball really tipped on the shortstop. Topspin line drive.
Is that the hardest read as a base runner when you basically to try to freeze on a line drive?
Yeah,
your instincts want you to go, right?
It really is, you know, because the tendency on contact is you want to go. You want to go. And you know, but you also got to know the situation, know the score. And, you know, when you're 5 runs down, obviously you're more cautious about the things you got to do on the base path.
There's Josh Rutledge with a couple of men on and 1 down. He was acquired from the Angels in the Shane Victorino deal last July. He's appeared in a bunch of big league games, about 300 with Colorado and 39 with the Red Sox last year. Devin Marrero on deck. And the 0-2 roped into left field. That'll drop for a base hit. That's going to load them up as the throw is sailed, but everyone's going to stay put at first, second, and third. That toss had some air underneath it.
Yeah, I thought that the throw from the outfield was going to end up somewhere in the stands. Another topspin line drive right here from Rutledge. Good job keeping the weight back and then the transfer to the front side. And look at this. Wow. That's actually the pitcher that made the cutoff. And what? I wonder why he was there up between first. Maybe he's seen him throw before.
Good question. I don't know. That could have been disastrous for the Yankees. That ball goes in the stands. 2 runs score on that.
Yes.
Not just 1.
No question. And Larry Rothschild out to consult with his pitcher. Now to look at the throw from left field.
You know, maybe he's seen him throw before, and he has a tendency to let it fly up the first base line because look what the pitcher is. I mean, generally he's playing somewhere around the backstop.
Should be.
Behind the catcher.
So they are all filled up for Devin Marrero. No place to put him with 1 down. Red Sox trying to rally from 5 runs down in the last half of the 8th inning. Ivan Nova started and pitched very well for the Yankees tonight. He allowed a first inning run, but nothing after that. Butler is on deck. Marrero looking to knock one through here in the 8th inning. Sox with a man at every base. And stopped by Sanchez. All filled up. Brock Holtz, Sam Travis, and Josh Rutledge. And a 1-1 to Marrero. Hard hit through for a base hit. One run is in. That'll refill the bases. RBI single for Rutledge, or Marrero hit it right on the button, and the Red Sox add another run.
That's a good feeling. You know, you get in late in the ball game in spring training. You try to impress. You pick up a base hit with the bases loaded. Again, that ball hit so hard, and it got to the left field and so quickly. Butterfield has to hold the runner at third base. But Marrero, known for his glove, that time participating with the bat, getting a run home for the Red Sox.
So Butler will come up to hit for the first time. 227 for the Syracuse Chiefs last year with a home run, but this is his second go around with the Red Sox. He checks and it misses for ball one. Right-hander Rumbelow with a difficult inning. Made his major league debut for the Yankees last year. He's out of LSU, which has an outstanding baseball tradition. Red Sox have put up 4 singles in this inning, their best offensive inning of the contest. In for a strike.
Well, now's the time for the bomb, right? You know, 4 singles. At the long ball right now.
Be nice.
Why not?
Popped him up, twisting foul off third base. And Torres right there on that railing to make the play for the second out. So no big fly for Butler.
That's very frustrating because you've interrupted the rally. You know, you get 3 straight hits and then you get an opportunity with the bases loaded and you just end up popping it up and you can't get a run home. It just breaks momentum. So now it's up to Travis Shaw to try to keep that going.
Shaw won at bat so far tonight, 0 for 1 with a grounder to first base. But he has hit 2 home runs so far in the Grapefruit League.
How much are you begging that ball to get out of play, though?
Oh.
You can see it on Butler's face. Please get out of play. Please get out of play.
Travis came up second half of last year, hit 13 home runs. Showing excellent power, and the count 2-0. One of those hitters who seemed to be more comfortable at the big league level than he was at the minor league level in the batter's box.
Yeah, some people are that way. You know, it's an odd trait to have, but a great trait to have. It means you're going to stay in the big leagues for a long time.
Yeah, I think it is in some cases, and not all, but some, I believe, that big league pitchers are around the plate more. You know, they obviously can find you whole a little bit quicker than minor league guys can, but a lot of minor league pitchers are wild and, you know, they're throwing the ball all over the place, where big league pitchers, for the most part, are going to be around the plate. And I think that makes guys better hitters.
I totally agree with you. You know, the pitchers are around the plate. The lights are better.
Everything's better.
Everything's better. The balls are brighter. The lights are brighter. And you're not afraid that the guy's going to let one fly and drill you in the neck.
The 2-0 popped up, a twisting foul back out of play. Now the Red Sox have scored a run in this inning after the Yankees scored 5 times in the top of the 8th. See this so often in spring training games. A well-played game while the regulars are in there. That one roped but foul as he hooks it into the stands. Travis Shaw's had some nice swings this spring. How about this weekend against the Marlins?
Off a left-hander, too. He let that ball down and in. And that's not exactly where he wanted to leave it, and Travis Shaw made him pay for it. That was a long home run.
That's the most impressive thing about Travis Shaw, is his ability to hit left-handers.
Yeah, there's no give in that front shoulder against lefties.
Not all about pulling the ball either. He'll go the other way and pepper that wall. Into the shift here. The second baseman on to first, and they get out of it without any further damage, so the Red Sox will leave them loaded. They settle to the 1 run, and after 8, it's the Yankees on top 6-2 at JetBlue. Aerial coverage provided by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Diaz popping a foul out of play. Noe Ramirez staying on for the Red Sox here. Red Sox in a shift where Travis Shaw, the third baseman, is playing to the right of second base. Marrero is by himself on the left side. That's Brock Holt and Sam Travis on the right side. And Tim, when you played, there wasn't as much shifting as there has been the last, I'd say, 3, 4, 5 years in Major League Baseball, where there's just been an overload of it.
Yeah, well, there's more data to look at now. You got spray charts for every hitter. You got where they're hitting the ball on the ground majority of the time, and you're playing their percentages. And I totally agree with that. It's different to see a third baseman over in the second base slot, and you see that once in a while. Most of the time you'll see the shortstop go over and the third baseman roll into the shortstop position, but I couldn't tell you why managers do that, but if it works, it works.
Yeah, I think what happens is a lot of times, we've talked about this in the past, where you see Brock Holt, okay, that according to the charts is the zone that this guy hits the ball in most of the time. So you're trying to put your best defensive infielder in that position. Of course, when you've got a man on first base, it's a different story. You want to keep your second baseman and shortstop together because you want the double play. That's why you'll see every once in a while the third baseman, Sandoval, for example, go in that hole between the second baseman and the first baseman. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, as a second baseman, though, you're taught your whole life, we take a ground ball, this is where I'm going to throw from. Throw from the dirt.
I would have a problem.
Now you're out in right field.
Yeah, I would have a problem.
And you're out in right field or in right center a lot, or maybe you're way behind the first baseman along the line, depending on the shift.
Right.
That puts a lot of stress on. I mean,
it's a different throw.
It's a totally different throw.
Yeah, it's like a pitcher trying to field a ground ball behind the mound and make a throw to first base. You're not used to making that throw a lot.
There's certainly nothing routine about it. Here's Gamble as he looks at a strike.
Well, there was a reason I played second base, because I didn't have a very good arm. I mean, that's why I was moved to second base when I became a professional. So to put me out in right field, for me, mentally, that's a long throw for me. So, you know, sometimes you can get intimidated by that.
See, I see sometimes the shift, and I'm not an anti-shift guy, and I agree with you. The data supports so much of the shifting, but I see it causing certain guys to make errors that they would never make because they're completely out of position. They have to make a much longer throw oftentimes. Marrero with the stab behind the bag, and it's 2 up and 2 down. So sometimes you see that happening, and then you look at the pitcher, and he's like looking cross-eyed, not at the guy who committed the error, but inside the dugout, the guy who said that's where you need to be.
Yeah.
On that play.
I agree with it. You know, I'm not against the shift at all, and there's been talk about, well, we got to eliminate the shift from the game. I don't know how you can do that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, we've watched David Ortiz hit into that shift
all the time
for the last 10 years.
Exactly.
I mean, sometimes he hits it so hard he hits it through the shift, but there's a reason why they have their shortstop or the second baseman playing deep into the right field, because big data proves that David Ortiz is a pull hitter and he's going to hit the ball on the ground to that side of the field.
How many hits has Poppy lost?
Oh, a lot. I bet you it's cost him 25 points on his average, I would say, per year. That would be my guess.
I have to agree with that.
Which means it's working. If you're the New York Yankees, if you're the Tampa Bay Rays, the Baltimore Orioles, you're going to keep doing it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And Joe Madden was the father of the incessant shifts. Of course, now the Chicago Cubs. Swung on and fouled, and that one got a piece of Butler.
I used to love how he would wait until a certain count to put the shift on, whether there's a runner on first or a runner on second. David's up. He wouldn't shift it until there was one strike on David.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of times they would do that because what they're trying to prevent in that situation is a bunt to that side of the infield, and they'll keep the third baseman in close. Then when they get a strike, it's less likely he's going to bunt, and then they'll move him back. That's why they do that. But it can be mind-boggling, and I've been out here watching the Red Sox practice the shift and play different defenses with the shift, all spring training, and it really is kind of fascinating to me because it's not something that I was involved in very much when I played.
There were a select few hitters, back in the 60s and 70s. That's in there for strike 3. Everybody knows about the Williams shift. 1, 2, 3, they go. But now, everybody's doing it. Middle of the 9th inning. Hey, when you play long enough in the big leagues, as Tim Wakefield did, you wind up with your own little figurine. This was one of our giveaways tonight. And I think you'll agree that the likeness is incredibly accurate for Wake. At least the number. They got the number right. Yeah, let's see.
And the goatee.
And the goatee. Got a little bit of a goatee there.
It looks like me.
It's absolutely adorable. And,
the size of the baseball.
The baseball
is huge. It's a softball.
Yeah, it's become a softball there. And good luck throwing your knuckleball with that. Well, you probably could. Hey, I wanted to ask you tonight. I mean, you could teach Jerry how to throw a knuckleball to maybe throw strikes. An athlete, a guy who's been a professional athlete. Could you teach a regular guy like me how to throw the knuckleball over home plate?
The one thing that I always tell people, I can't teach you how to take spin off of a baseball. I think that's a God-given ability or a feel for an athlete to be able to throw a baseball without any spin. And I think Stephen Wright, learned it when I was young, practiced it, but it's something that I can't teach. Now, if you learn how to take a spin off the baseball, I could teach you mechanically how to make it better and how to throw it over home plate.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but I mean, what you're talking about is actual talent. The talent is the actual separator.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. I'm so bad. I used to think, I really did, that a knuckleball was thrown with your knuckles. That's what I used to think.
Well, I did too when I was a kid. I did too.
And then all of a sudden I found out it was the fingertips, and I went, holy, how do they do that?
Yeah. The reason why it's called a knuckleball is not only because of the movement, but when you throw it, all you see is the top. Well, for me, I threw it with 2 fingers. All you saw was the knuckles of my hand sticking up. Therefore, it's called a knuckleball. It wasn't thrown with the knuckles.
I get you.
It was thrown with the fingertips, and it's thrown, you could see the tops of my knuckles when I let it go.
Right. And you kept your fingernails in such great shape. Do you still do that?
Not so much anymore. I don't fret over it.
like
I'm not, my gosh, I broke a nail. It was like, oh my gosh. I hate to say it, you know, like you don't want to miss a start. Hey, broken nail. I'm never going to do that. But I learned ways to fix it. Used super glue. I've used the fibers off a Q-tip to put in the super glue to bond that as much as possible. I never really put fake nails on. I know Tom Candiotti, if he broke a nail, he would put a fake nail on. He really would. He'd go to a salon and get a fake nail put on his finger to help him get through that. And I think Ari Dickey did that one time too.
Well, did you ever travel a manicurist?
No.
No? Yeah, because in today's game you probably could have one.
Probably could, but I didn't. I took care of my nails.
You sure did. I remember those days. We are 6-2 Yankees, and last call for the Sox here in the 9th inning as Nick Goody comes in to do the pitching for New York. Right-hander, former LSU closer like Nick Rumbelow, made his major league debut last July. And a high bounder to the third baseman, and that's going to be out number 1. Red Sox Foundation making dreams come true. A $50 pledge supplies a college prep class for one Red Sox scholar or an hour pitching lesson from an RBI softball player. A $125 pledge helps to send a Red Sox scholar or RBI player to summer camp. And a $450 pledge supplies uniforms for an entire RBI team. Wake says we can name that team for that pledge, maybe.
I hope.
Thanks so much for your continued support of the Red Sox Foundation and its cornerstones. And for our man Tim Wakefield, it's a big part of his life. And I remember when you retired and we had the ceremony on the field at Fenway Park, and you turned around and you were completely stunned, and here come the foundation kids, and Wake, you were in tears, and so was everybody else in the ballpark.
Yeah, it was one of those moments in my life that you do things because you care.
Bosch with a base hit up the middle.
But when you turn around unexpectedly and see for the first time how many lives you had an effect on.
Pouring out.
Yeah. It completely took me by surprise and humbled me very quickly.
I could tell.
It was a very emotional night or day for me there at Fenway Park. And
it was a great memory to watch. Just to see your reaction and those kids and all those folks coming to be with you at that moment. That was special.
It was.
Here's Brock Holt, runner at first base, and one down. And 6-2 Yankees in the 9th inning as he takes one upstairs, ball 1. I was talking with Brock the other day, and he said when he was a freshman in high school, when he went in as a freshman, he weighed 84 pounds.
What?
84 pounds as a freshman. And last year was an all-star in the major leagues and played in a career-high 129 games.
Amazing. What a great story. What an inspiration for all the baseball players out there, young and old.
One ball and one strike. He'll be a key man all summer for John Farrell. John says he wants to get him 350, 400 at-bats.
That'd be great. I mean, not only is he a great baseball player, he's a great person as well. You know, he won the Community Service Award from the Baseball Writers Dinner this year. I was honored to give him that award. He was nominated for the Roberto Clemente Award last year. He does a lot in the community. He really does.
He does it very quietly.
Yep.
As you did and continue to do. You won the Clemente Award.
I did. I was fortunate enough to win it in 2010. David Ortiz won it in 2011. I think that might have been the first time that teammates have won it back-to-back years. But it's also a tribute to
Holt slapping a single, and that'll move Brendan Bosch into second base.
It's also a tribute to the community relations staff that the Red Sox have. I mean, they do a great job of monitoring what guys do and when they're asked to do things and help them get involved in the community.
No, we always talk about how the game has changed in many ways on the field, but also off the field. I mean, guys today are much more involved in the community than when I played the game. Much more involved with charities.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think organizations are doing a better job, making these guys realize what's out there. Yep. And to their credit, they are really jumping on the bandwagon and doing things. And we never really, it wasn't a thing that kind of ran through the organization when I played. You know, it was very different. And, you know, every once in a while you do something. We always did something for the Jimmy Fund, obviously. But, sure. I mean, now players are scattered into all different areas, which I think is terrific.
Well, look at a night like tonight.
Right.
The Red Sox Foundation night, which, you know, we do annually. And so many great cornerstone stories, but so closely connected to the Red Sox organization.
Yeah, when I first started with the Red Sox Foundation, there was only 5 cornerstone. They've added 2 more since last year, and it's going to continue to grow. I mean, it's great to have not only the players, but a foundation set up when the new ownership group came in, and it's the best professional sports foundation that's out there. We raise more money for 7 different cornerstones than I think in any team in any major sport.
And that's a wonderful tribute. 2 strikes here on Lamar. Pop up in the right center. And Puelo there underneath to put that one away as the runners hold. Hey, this spring, Nesson Clubhouse will be back for its 3rd season. Don't miss the show. It's Sundays on Nesson, 90 minutes prior to the first pitch of the Sox game. Visit NessonClubhouse.com for cool games and to learn more about the show. Well, 2 down. And Sam Travis will dig in. 6-2, the Yankees. They got 5 runs to break it open in the 8th inning. Up to that point, it had been a very tightly contested game and very well pitched. We're going to be back on tomorrow night from Hammond Stadium, the home of the Minnesota Twins. Jerry and I will be there for the Red Sox and the Minnesota Twins. As Grapefruit League Baseball will continue. As we get closer and closer to opening day on Monday, April 4th in Cleveland. And the man we saw on the mound tonight for the Red Sox, David Price, will be doing the honors in his first Red Sox start. The 0-2. And popped out of play. Wake, it's been a treat having you in the booth all night tonight.
I appreciate it, Obi. I appreciate it.
Always great to see you. And
appreciate your work.
It's fun. Thank you.
Everything you do in the community and continue to do in the community is so appreciated by all of us.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
1st and 2nd. Red Sox trying to keep this alive here in the 9th inning. The 0-2 pitch. And fought off foul again by Sam Travis. Rutledge on deck, hoping for a chance here. He has a base hit tonight. So does Travis. Goody with the 0-2. Smoke down the line. That one headed into the corner. That's going to be a fair ball. Bosch is in to score. And Lamar in to score as the thrower into third base as the throw comes into second base. And the Sox add another run to make it 6-3.
Nice for Sam Travis. It's coming in the ball game. A couple of hits, a single last time, a double this time, and Red Sox with 2 outs. Trying to come back here on the Yankees. Almost no stride at all on contact there. Very quiet with that front foot. Eyes not moving very much, and a pretty nice looking swing by Travis.
So Larry Rothschild out for a quick conversation. He'll keep him in. And Rutledge with an opportunity to make this really interesting. He singled his time up. Runners at second and third. Two down, 2 on. And that is high for ball 1. Oftentimes when you're watching a spring training game, it feels like you're watching 2 entirely different games.
You're right.
Like it's the first 5 innings, and then there's the last 4, which sometimes make no sense.
Especially this early in camp.
Right.
And towards the end of the camp, you're going to start seeing better baseball. Not that this is bad baseball, but you're going to start seeing the everyday players playing, 5 to 6 to 7 innings possibly.
And it'll feel like, not as you said to talk down anybody, but it feels like a real major league game. The longer the regulars are in there.
But you can't do that with the everyday players this early in spring training, though.
Sure. Popped up. That should do it. And the shortstop clinches that to end the ball game. So that's the end of the rally. 6-3 the final score. We want to thank the great folks at Biogen, and before the game presenting a big check for $45,000 to the Red Sox Foundation. In the sunshine there with Tim Wakefield, a wonderful moment before the game. So thanks to Biogen and all the great folks at the Red Sox Foundation, as we've had a terrific night, which we do annually here at spring training. There's your final score. The Yankees beat the Red Sox 6-3 here from JetBlue Park. For Tim Wakefield and for Jerry Remy, I'm Dave O'Brien. Thanks so much for being with us, and don't forget to join us tomorrow night. The Red Sox will take on the Minnesota Twins from nearby Hammond Stadium. Good night, everybody.
What is